Welcome to Yerba Talks.
Welcome to the Aftershow. I am Max. This is Kat, also known as El Gato. And today we had a debate between Apollos, David, DannyPhilTalk, and MonkeyBoy. And it changed towards the end. Was it? Give me 1 second. Does God exist? That was I'll edit the video in just a moment. So another philosophical debate. I thought I was having fun at the beginning when they were talking about Christianity itself, and then it just went to the philosophy, and that's where I get a little bit bored. Yep. All right, give me 1 second. Let me edit the title. MonkeyBoy. Does God exists? Perfect. All right. Oh, Brenda says, I'm getting tired of the anti-Semitism on NDD. Well, to be fair, it's the one guy, right? And I mean, he's completely wrong, even in his premise of Christians worshiping Jews. They worship Jesus, which was a Jew, but they don't worship Judaism, or they would still be practicing Judaism. So even on its face, the claim falls flat. So yeah, pretty much. I understand that part. I do, and I wholeheartedly agree with you right now, Brenda, on that second. Yeah, there are fucking Gestapo in my fucking town right fucking now. Yeah. Yep, you're 100% correct. All right. Yeah, I'm putting the link there. Apollo's give me just a moment. There we go. Pinning it to the top of the side chat. And while we get some people in here, before we do anything, make sure to do the social things: like, share, subscribe, send this to a friend, send this to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your street, and just subscribe to Yerba Talks. I almost fumbled the name of the channel. Holy fuck. And that way we can share the love for the channel. Alrighty. Let's put the headphones on. Brenda, hello. Check. Can you hear me?
Howdy. Can you hear me well? Can you hear me well?
I can hear you perfectly. How you doing?
Yeah, sorry about the rant, but
okay, I understand.
The president of the United States is literally calling for the military to be in the streets of my town. And these fucking people, especially James, sit there and fucking giggle. They giggle. Fuck them.
All right. I understand that it's a shitty situation, and I'm not making excuses for anyone, but I do also giggle when I'm nervous and stuff.
I want denazification. I want Nuremberg trials, and I want laws passed. I want laws passed that will restrict filth from posting in social media.
Oh,
and if James doesn't have the fucking balls to moderate those people, then his channel should be taken down.
I don't necessarily.
I do. Because this is what happens. This is why this is here. It's because they tolerate it.
Right, but it's a slippery slope when you start. I don't like, for example, the
I'm
situation
I, I'm done.
in the UK right
I'm
now.
done ranting. I'm done ranting on this side issue. I'll just stop. I'll just stop.
All right,
Okay.
thank you so much.
I'll stop. I'll stop derailing. I'll stop that.
You got it. All right, Apollos, my friend, how you
Doing
doing?
well, Max. Nice to see you again. And real quick, is it Yerba Mate Talks? Yerba Mate or
Eh,
what is it?
mate.
Okay, I'm so sorry for fumbling that
Yeah, no,
earlier.
get it wrong. Don't worry. And it sounds. There's an English word just like that. So I mean, it's fine. Mate. It doesn't matter. All right.
Gotcha. Cool.
What-
Yeah, I'm
Um.
here in this after
Oh,
show.
Brett. Oh my God. Brenda, please mute yourself if you're going to type again. You sound like you're pile driving a typewriter.
My microphone is muted.
Oh yeah, my bad.
That was him, not me.
Oh, it was you? Sorry.
Yeah, my bad.
I was the one that muted you. Sorry. Dude, that was loud. All right. Openings. What I like to do when we have one of the debaters here is asking, do you feel you accomplished your purpose with your opening?
Yeah, with my opening, with 2v2 debates, you don't have like a lot of time. Especially with the way that it was divided between me and David, more time was given to actually establishing the resurrection of Jesus. And then, like the day before, I actually went into MonkeyBoy's Discord to find out he's actually argued for the alien hypothesis. So we decided not to change the way things were in terms of like timing. But yeah, I mean, like in terms of like just getting out the, I guess you could say, information out there. Yeah, I think it accomplished for what it was worth. A lot of the debate is decided in the back and forth anyway. So
Yep.
yeah.
Did you coordinate your openings with Daniel? Because I do have some objections to some
With
of the stuff that he claimed. David, sorry.
Yeah. I coordinated with David. We decided to divide it between like he was gonna do the actual resurrection, and then I was gonna do the implications for the resurrection of Jesus. So yeah.
And with the premises that he presented, do you agree with those?
Yeah, broadly speaking. I mean, like there was a question like later throughout the stream of the debate, like what do we mean by Christian God? And like I take that more to be like a theological question. Like as opposed to like
what was your definition?
Yeah, just broadly speaking, that like it's kind of like how like Danny referred to like there being necessary and sufficient conditions for like anything that we like put in metaphysical space. But like just broadly speaking, we would say that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit were in the Godhead, and were responsible for Jesus' resurrection as the signifying act. So
yeah, but I don't feel like you really addressed it. What is a God? What defines a God?
Yeah. So like we came up with like there are many different conceptions when it comes to like the triadic formula. Like whether it's Trinity proper, monarchical Trinitarianism, social Trinitarianism, and then you also have like things like modalism, Christological adoptionism.
But what makes it a God?
No, that's the thing. Yeah, like it's contested within the metaphysical framework. So,
but what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know like what particular like form of Trinitarianism I hold to, but I would consider myself a Trinitarian proper.
No, but what makes that a God? I mean, it's kind of hard to argue atheism versus theism if you won't say what it is that you're defending.
Well, I mean, like David gave like a definition of God that was consistent.
But what's yours? What's your definition? What's a God?
Let's bring it down.
Yeah,
let's bring it down.
What's the deal?
What's your definition? What's a God?
I mean, like I can play back the debate, and like I think he said like incorporeal mind that exceeds the capacities of human beings.
Yeah, that's the definition he gave.
That's not a God. I can imagine an incorporeal being that is stronger than humans. That's not a God. That's not a God.
Okay.
But that's how he defined it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't accept your definition. It has to be something that is capable of creating, right, the universe, right?
okay,
There
then I'll
was,
add that
yeah.
into the definition there.
He added that it's the creator of the everything physical towards the end.
I mean, because I can imagine an incorporeal being that is naturally part of the universe, that is more powerful than humans.
Okay.
I mean, so that doesn't define a god.
All right. I'm getting better at like defining things. So I don't understand what this does for the dialectic of like what to improve on in the debate and like reviewing the debate.
Well, just define your terms.
What? I just hopped on
but
here to review the debate.
they did in the debate, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my problem with David's opening is that he got his prediction about the premises 1 through 8 not being disputed.
Well,
But-
that was because like I shared with him a screenshot of MonkeyBoy saying that I'll give my regular response to the resurrection, namely that how does it like do anything for Christian theism? And MonkeyBoy specifically did go that route, like arguing for the alien hypothesis.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say next. That he got lucky that it actually came true, because that prediction with me holds no water. I would have disputed all of the premises.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know that we one of those was about the gospel authorship, and I hold to the same thought that you
like
had
non-traditional authorship.
Yeah, that you had that discussion with remember PhD Tony. That was a big part of the discussion, where like, do we have manuscripts without the attribution of the titles on them? And I think that is my position. And you cited a couple of scholars, but I mean, I can also cite a couple of scholars, so it's kind of like a standstill there. So that's where I started. So to me, David's opening, I think he took a little bit too many liberties, I think. But it worked out. It worked out in the context of this debate, because his prediction actually came true, and that's why it's important to
research your opponent.
Research, yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, invade their discords with your alt account and everything.
What was the argument again? What was the argument again from Resurrection?
So that if Jesus was raised from the dead, then very likely the Christian God exists. And then MonkeyBoy's reply was to say, well, I can hypothesize that aliens rose Jesus from the dead as a competing candidate hypothesis.
Yeah, it seems like a non sequitur, pretty obviously, right?
On whose part?
Huh?
I don't.
On whose part?
On your part. No, on your part.
On my part?
Yeah, I don't see the connection. It's non sequitur between resurrection and the Christian God.
Well, it's just an inference to the best explanation in terms of Bayesian probability. Like, of course, it doesn't logically entail in the deductive sense, but what we're doing is saying, given these data points, what hypothesis best explains that data?
I can imagine a world where a person named Jesus rose from the dead, and the Christian God does not exist.
Yeah, but that would be ad hoc and unlikely.
It's
and then that's why I like brought up like
yours is ad hoc. Your position is ad hoc.
Well, no, it's directly suggested by the data. Just like, and then that's why I brought up like the Cartesian demon as an example. Because if you're going to say my position is ad hoc, then you have to say that.
I don't think Brenda watched the debate.
I did.
Okay.
I did watch it. I think it's the dumbest debate I've ever heard. Right? The Cartesian demon isn't a thing, dude.
Yeah, it does. The Cartesian demon doesn't have to be a thing. He's just using it as an example, because you can explain all sensory data by appeal to Cartesian demon, and he's saying that's
it's an intuition. It's not analogous.
It is analogous.
No, it's not. It's an intuition.
Analogous?
It's an intuition pump. It's not real. Nobody thinks it's real.
And nobody thinks that aliens that rose Jesus is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could be.
Okay, well, the Cartesian demon could be.
Yeah.
No, it
Exactly.
can't be. The Descartes' demon can't be real
Why can't the
Why?
Cartesian
Why?
demon be
because
real?
it violates all kinds of natural laws.
But that assumes natural laws are real. And in order to assume natural laws are real, you need some form of sense data to be reliable or correspondent to
What
reality. Because your view
natural
of what
laws are
natural
real? What does that
yeah,
mean?
your view. Okay, you said it violates all sorts of natural laws. If you're saying that it
Yes.
violates natural laws, that's going to assume natural laws exist. But your knowledge of natural laws are already going to be contingent upon an external world existing as you see it currently. But the Cartesian demon
No.
scenario is meant to explain how you can't necessarily know that's the case. So appealing to natural law to explain why Cartesian demon just cannot exist is going to be circular because Cartesian demon is an attack upon the view that things like external objects exist outside of your mind or that you
Isn't
can
it
know that they exist.
Not
that
really.
that's a little too close to solipsism for my taste?
Yeah, that's not
And
Yeah.
really what the purpose
Which is
of
why
the
I really appreciate
Descartes'
like
demon
Max.
is.
Well, that's why I was gonna say. That's why I appreciate like Max saying that a good a better strategy for the atheist would have been to attack premises 1 through 8. But we
oh
also
my,
got
yes.
yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
I'm not that philosophically inclined. I'm more of a simpleton. My attacks on Christianity are mostly limited to reading the book.
Yeah. And that would be the way to go about it instead of like saying,
Right.
"Oh, aliens could have rose Jesus from the dead."
I don't agree with MonkeyBoy on that one either.
Yeah.
What are the priors that you're counting on in your assertion that it's reasonable to believe the Christian God rose Jesus from the dead rather than some other deity or
Yeah.
entity?
So it's just like unlikely on the other suppositions. Like I also gave like evidence from recursive perspective taking that various forms of reverse psychology and lying are ad hoc. The same reason you wouldn't have to hypothesize something like you could even you could even say that the Cartesian demon is natural, and then then it all of a sudden becomes even more analogous if you want to say,
Well, yeah,
But
because
oh,
you
what
could
are
use
your
a prior.
priors? But what
Then
are your priors? You haven't told me what your priors are. You went immediately to the Cartesian demon. I was talking about what priors are supporting your belief, right? That the Christian God better explains Jesus rising from the dead than some other entity.
yeah, the priors like I know that there's a way that like Richard Swinburne likes to go about things, like saying that given theism, incarnation is more probable, and then given incarnation is more probable, the resurrection of Jesus. I don't go that route. I like to go the route of like kind of like taking it like backwards abduction, like
So what are the priors? What are the priors that favor Christianity over some other entity?
yeah, the data is more suggested under Christianity than it
What
is like
data?
under some
What's the data?
the
What are you
data
talking
that
about?
Jesus believed in something like the triadic God. And of course that gets into a whole other debate about like high
What?
Christology and low Christology, but just
So
generally speaking, he believed in the Israelite God. He didn't believe in aliens. He didn't believe in
his beliefs,
yeah, the religious
that's your
historical context.
evidence. That's your
Wait,
evidence,
wait,
Yeah.
hold on. This is assuming the resurrection happened, right? And you're just trying to find out what
right?
caused it, right?
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm asking what his priors are, and his priors are that Jesus believed he was God, right? That basically put Jesus believed he was the Son of God, right?
Yeah.
And that's the prior that you're citing
Yeah.
as justifying favoring Christianity as an explanation for the resurrection over some other entity.
Yeah. And if
Well, yeah,
Jesus
it's not
taught
It's
something
religion.
like aliens, we
gibberish.
would favor aliens, but he
All
didn't.
right.
So
All right. Let's
What?
let me rein it back. Let's go
yeah,
back to the
good
form.
point, Max.
Let's
This,
go
Yeah,
back to
that's
sorry.
the
that's
format.
crazy.
We
That's
can always
crazy.
continue this chat when we go to the open discussion, and that opens new avenues of talking. So Brenda, do you want to give some thoughts on the Christian side openings?
Yeah, it's an argument from psychology. It's for one of the worst arguments I've ever heard in my life. Because people have beliefs, therefore Jesus rose from what Christianity is true, or Jesus rose from the dead. It's the dumbest argument I've ever heard.
All right, fair enough. External, haven't seen you around. Welcome. Give us your thoughts on the the Christian side's opening, please.
Well, I think that a lot of it was ignored. I did like the historical presentation that Pallmann gave, right? So I think it was good, but I feel like it was ignored because they focused more on like the implications of the resurrection than the resurrection itself. But I liked Apollos' point about how he cited a bunch of studies. To be fair, I'm not really familiar with like the studies in psychology, but I liked how he cited a bunch of studies showing that how positing Jesus as a liar is going to be more ad hoc than positing he was telling the truth. One thing I would add though is that prima facie, when we're like, and I told Apollos this before the debate too, but prima facie, when we're like dealing with an agent and we're trying to explain how this agent has a set of causal powers, if this person is shown to be like trustworthy elsewhere, or even just like not shown to be a liar elsewhere, and they're trying to, and they tell you or they give an account of how they have this causal power, then prima facie you're going to trust them. So like if you have like a really good artist and you ask the question, how did this person get their ability to paint so well, right? Then prima facie, if they tell you that, oh, I got it because I went to art school, you're liable to trust that, or it would be very reasonable to trust them, right? Even if it's not necessarily the case. So in this context, if Jesus is telling us, the account or like the explanation as to why he has a set of causal powers, then I think prima facie we can trust it.
But he
Just
didn't.
because of this principle.
But he didn't demonstrate those powers.
Well, this is granting that the resurrection happened, though. So
Right.
Yeah,
But
and then correlation is
doesn't
also
imply that
evidence
he
for
has those
causation.
causal powers.
Yeah,
But
and of
if-
course correlation doesn't imply causation in the hard deductive sense, but it is evidence for causation.
yeah, I'm very confused because if this is like a stage 2 part where you've granted
Weak
the evidence for the
evidence.
miracles of Christ. Okay, but if
It's
you're
a
granting
weak
that the resurrection happened, then he has
We
like,
heard you, Brenda.
it's a
yeah,
weak
I
inference.
understand that. Look, I understand that, but if you're granting that the resurrection happened or that like the Gospels
Right.
are the Bible, then you're granting he had those set of causal powers. So like
No,
saying
I'm
that,
not.
okay, well
No.
then you already
If
Come up with a better
focused on
explanation.
he could
what?
have been resurrected by some other entity besides himself.
What's
But
the evidence for that?
they had an argument, like a preemptive argument against that. I don't find it convincing at all, but they did cover their bases.
And it's based. No, they didn't, because it's based on Jesus's beliefs. What do his
More
beliefs
than
have to
that,
do with
the
anything?
Well,
disciples'
no, but
beliefs
it wasn't just that.
yeah,
No, their argument, even though
and
I think it's
counterfactuals for
wrong,
aliens.
it was a bit more sophisticated than
Could
that.
Jesus have been mistaken?
About
Yeah,
what?
but we have no evidence for that.
Well, it depends on what you
What?
mean here, because if you're just saying like in terms of modal logic, where you're just saying, is it like possibly true that Jesus could have been mistaken? No. If you're
Yeah.
talking in terms of
Why not?
epistemology, okay. If you're talking, let me explain. If you're talking about in terms of epistemology, meaning can our knowledge that Jesus was true, can that be mistaken?
No, but could
Sure.
he have been wrong? Could he have a mistaken belief?
Yeah. In terms of modal logic, no.
Yes, he could. He could
I think
believe. He could believe that he was the Son of God, nevertheless died and then resurrected by some other entity.
Yeah. Okay. Once again,
Right?
I think that I don't grant that as a possibility in terms of modal logic.
Why is that not possible? It's clearly possible. He could have been mistaken about who he was, right? Died, and then some aliens decided, we're gonna punk these humans. Let's raise him from the dead.
Yeah, that's going to be referring to possibility in terms of like an epistemic sense, where possibly our knowledge about his truthfulness is going to be wrong. But if we're talking
Yeah,
about
it
modal
could
logic,
be.
no.
It
Yeah, okay,
could
well
be
that's a
wrong.
different question from
He could be
possibility and modal
wrong.
logic.
He could
Yeah,
be
that's-
wrong, and we could be wrong.
Yeah, that's
Right?
different from possibility and modal logic. I asked you to clarify if you're talking about possibility and modal logic. You said you
Do
were.
you think it's
And-
possible that Jesus could be mistaken, have a false belief about his own powers? He could mistakenly believe that he's the Son of God. He set into motion all the events that got him crucified. Some aliens came along and said, wouldn't it be funny if we raised this guy from the dead?
Brenda, you
That
already had
can
a yes
happen.
from me.
you already asked this question on me. I already gave you the answer.
Yeah,
If
you
you're
got
right.
two different answers. So
Yeah,
All right,
it's-
So the answer is yes.
For me,
carry
yeah.
on. 1 second.
Possible is not probability.
Now, What did you think, Apollos, of the atheists openings?
Yeah, for sure. So I really appreciated Danny's like route or direction that he wanted to take things. Like, and once again, it was kind of strange because like the debate prompt was originally theism versus atheism, and then the title became Christianity versus atheism. But
Yes.
me and David Pallmann were gonna approach it like proving Christian theism broadly speaking, and then proving theism. But then again, that wasn't like the debate topic. So I guess like there was ambiguity in terms of like what the debate topic was supposed to be. But in any case, I think Danny did a great job like laying out his positions when it comes to like the different um, philosophical problems he would have with regards to theism. I think MonkeyBoy would have the weaker like I guess you could say opening when it comes um, um, to like the performance particularly because like I guess part of it too is that I already knew what he was gonna say um
Yeah.
with regards to like aliens rising Jesus from the dead, so like I was already prepared for that. And I also just don't find it like really convincing like defeater for the inference to theism. But yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, like I did say that the both of them were good faith interlocutors with me. So like, I appreciate the low key attitude we all had throughout the debate.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that for sure.
yeah, I think like everyone was, um, like the other three of them were really concise with what they were trying to say, and and there was a lot of like easy communication back and forth. And I know I stuttered a lot, but I'm working on it. So,
You're fine.
yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, to answer your question, like generally Danny was better than Monkey Boy, but yeah, they're both good.
yeah, me. It just sounds like it gets you to a stalemate. It's like, oh yeah, could have been resurrection or aliens.
Yeah.
And to me, both have the same explanatory power, which is like zero. I mean, I would need to see evidence for either the claim of the God claim or the alien claim, and even more. What I usually say
Mhm.
is that it would have to be a double miracle because it's not just only getting him back from the dead, because after let's take the most conservative estimate, 2 days, corpses, and I don't know if you've seen, but go into Google, turn off safe search, and look up pictures of 2-day-old corpses. It would have to have a regeneration miracle, otherwise it's he would be
Yeah,
pretty
for
much
sure.
a
Yeah.
zombie kind of a thing, and that
Yeah.
usually gets overlooked, to me, in my opinion. All
Yeah,
right,
but they're
Brenda,
granting
Yeah,
they're
that's
granting that. They're granting that though.
yeah, but it never gets brought up. It never gets brought up ever. Brenda, thoughts on the atheist openings?
Um yeah, I thought you just summed it up pretty well. I thought that they did. They they seemed pretty confident because I have to I have to occasionally mute myself
Okay.
because I have a chest cold. I have a chest cold,
Oh, no problem.
so that I don't do things like that.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. So, anything else?
No.
All right. External thoughts on Danny and Monkey Boy's opening.
Well, before the debate happened, me and some of my friends were kind of making a list of what we expected. I think about half of what we put down was brought up. So like we knew that we thought he was gonna run the LPT, specifically Danny. He didn't, which I was actually very surprised with.
well, actually he
Um,
did, but then we kind of like well,
oh
he
yeah,
kind of sorted it with the incarnation.
yeah. Well, no, that's a different critique, but
Yeah.
like yeah, after that he would like he Monkey Boy brought up the aliens thing, which I expected. Problem of evil expected, and then another thing I said that he would bring up was logical paradoxes of theism. I also told Apollos these things that I expected before it, but two things which I'm honestly surprised didn't happen is Monkey Boy or Danny interrupting one of them, because the reason why I thought that would happen, well, to be fair, that's later on, but the reason why I expected that is because I don't really like TikTok debates for that reason. I feel like it's very You didn't see it here, right? Even though those two are from TikTok, but it sort of breeds a type of attitude amongst the debaters, if you get what I mean. So I
Yeah.
expect
Oh,
them.
Yeah, but
they're
Danny's not.
coming.
Neither Danny nor Monkey Boy. Neither of them are really like that.
It's just very conducive to it in a lot of
It
circumstances. Even
does.
people who would be charitable usually end up becoming it, which is why I don't really like going on that route. But like as for the arguments themselves, I mean, well, I would first of all just say that I think Pallmann brought this up in a different debate, but positing matter plus consciousness seems to be like more ad hoc than just positing consciousness on its own, or if we're talking about in terms of parsimony, because then that's matter and consciousness versus just one of those things alone, and that's especially going to
Mhm.
work under a substance dualist paradigm. So I feel like positing a theistic explanation is going to be a lot more parsimonious than like a aliens hypothesis, because the aliens hypothesis is going to require like an agent that is composed of both matter and soul, or as Pallmann would say, like mind, because he's a
Are,
Cartesian dualist, right?
Oh, wait,
are you
wait,
are you
wait, wait,
pants?
wait, wait. No, stop. How? What if they're morphologically different? How would they have a soul?
I mean, from Pallmann's point of view, I'm pretty sure he thinks all consciousness is just immaterial. So if we're taking his view, then that, if we're taking,
Yeah, but
So
for
do we have
example,
souls? We have
but
souls and
but
consciousness.
if we have an alien morphologically different than us, then they wouldn't be created in God's image, would they? Unless
um,
you were to say that God is a shapeshifter.
well, it depends on what you mean by God's image there, because there's a debate on that. Because if you just take God's image to refer to like, let's say rationality, right, or some level of it,
Yeah,
then the
no,
aliens
no,
would be
wait, no.
in God's image.
What do Christians mean when they say that we are created in God's image? They mean this,
Uh,
right?
well, it's kind of disputed, but most of them are going to say that it refers to the soul or something similar to that. So, I mean, hypothetically, you could say that, like, I mean, it just depends, right? Because some of them will
A
say it's
rational
soul.
being of some sort. A rational
Yeah, some
being.
form of rational being. Some of them will say that, but then others will say it has nothing to do with ontology and it has to do with function, which something like someone like
So
Heiser is going to say that. So
so
it's disputed.
floaty tentacle beings from Alpha Centauri nevertheless could be made in God's image.
I mean, I don't really take a position on that, if you want to be honest. I'm just trying to steel
It's
man, like, kind of
consistent
a
with
way
what you
that
just is consistent with what you just talked about, right?
if
The
you say that the
They
image
could
of
be
God,
rational. They could be rational agents, right? They
yeah,
have
if the
agency and
image
they're
of God is
rational.
just defined in terms of rationality, then sure, but I
Yeah,
don't really take a position
rational.
on
He's a
that.
rational agent. So rational agents could have just about any imaginable biological um, form, right?
I mean, possibly, but that depends on your view of the image of God. As I said, I don't really take a position on what that
Well, if
means.
I take that image, if I take that as being made in God's image, mean I'm a
Well, yeah,
rational
that's under the
agent.
conditional that you take it. But I mean, once again, I'm not really convinced
the
of you
freak
right
What
now.
is it with
is
these people? What is it?
oh,
What is
Brenda,
this?
can
Yeah.
you tone down the aggression just a tad? Because you're in debate mode. But this,
No,
it's the
because
after show. Well,
this
it's the
gets you
after show.
views.
We're
Number one, I'm
chilling
going to get you
here.
views. That's one thing.
Yeah, but it's Monday morning. I'm here. We're here chilling, hanging out. It's I'm not up for that today. And the policy is such a nice guy. Like, come on. The freak, who's also a Christian, says, I would say it's a human form. That's
Yeah,
what I would tend to agree. But then again, I'm a simpleton.
some people would say that it's the fact that we have a body and soul. But I mean, I'm not really committed to a position yet. If you want me to be completely honest.
That's fair.
So,
Okay.
so what about the floaty rational agents from the gas giants around Sirius B?
I mean, I don't think those exist though. Like,
It's a
I don't.
hypothetical, dude.
Okay, if you just want to take that as like a hypothetical, then I mean, as I said, I just say I wouldn't know because I don't really take a position.
Good God, what is
Wait,
wrong with you people?
what is this? Andrea Yates was made in God's Genesis 6:9 image, closer to God's image from that part of the book, probably than anyone else. Who the hell is Andrea Yates?
That was
Did
weird.
I just do something bad? Hold on, Andrea Yates. Who the hell is this lady?
Oh, I didn't know they were real. I thought they were just making fun of your name.
No, that's weird. Someone also asked what's the best Sharwa, Uruguayan Sharwa, which in reality is Brazilian Sharwa, but the brand is La Selva. I'll go get the pack later. All right. Now open discussion.
Yeah, so
How do you feel it went?
yeah, so I'm grateful for the fact that David was my partner throughout this debate, particularly because, like, as we've discussed, Max, that Danny was is a really strong interlocutor to be facing against. So, like, I was grateful that he was able to match forth a lot of like those philosophical objections towards Christianity. Um, I wish I had like more, like, I guess you could say, like, time to flesh out like the different, I guess you could say, um, objections I had towards the alien hypothesis. But at the same time, that wasn't the entire debate, even though that was basically Monkey Boy's opening statement. But yeah, I mean, like, it was very courteous. Really appreciated that. Like, yeah, I would say like the two giants were like Danny and David Pallmann, like, going at it, and whereas like me and Monkey Boy were like the minions, I guess you could say. But yeah,
It's fine. It happens. There's always people who take the lead in the debate. Yeah.
yeah, for
It's
sure.
it's no big. All right. Some thoughts on the open discussion, Brenda. That there. All right. Let's go back. Let's go to external, and we'll double back.
Well, I kind of mentioned this before. I didn't really. I expected a lot more bad faith arguing because of like the TikTok scene and how it works. But I mean, I think it was good that that they didn't do that. I really liked how it was respectful, and you didn't really see that many interruptions. I will say though, in terms of rhetoric, I feel like Pallman had good rhetoric, but I feel like Danny slightly overshadowed him in terms of like just pure rhetoric. If you get what I mean, like, you know how
Yep.
people that they can like debate well, but even if you
Yeah.
disagree with them, even if you think their arguments are wrong, you can still say they had good rhetoric or debated well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Mhm.
100%.
I don't know. I feel like although I like the substance that Apollos brought up, but I feel like he needs to do a lot better on rhetoric.
I do. I do. That's what I always get told by Tim Howard, my debate
Yeah,
coach. So
um,
But the only way that you get better at that is just going at
do it
it.
talking.
And
more. Yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
just
So we were me and Apollos' friends. Although to be fair, I didn't really introduce myself to Max, right? But I'm a friend of Apollos. I kind of helped him prepare with some of this stuff.
you got it.
Huh?
Oh, you got it. Awesome. That's great.
Yeah. Okay.
Go
Okay.
on. Sorry, I just
My
interjected.
bad. But yeah. So okay, I kind of lost my train of thought. My bad.
Yeah,
But
I'm
he
so
runs a
sorry.
channel called Imago Logos, which also does like Christian apologetic stuff, and it's
yeah,
run
so
by
I was
multiple
kind of
people.
helping him with some of the stuff, right, in the
Oh,
behind the
cool.
scenes. Which is why I kind of said that I made some predictions. I'm happy with some of them that they weren't accurate, like the interrupting part. I'm happy that didn't pan out, you know. But I mean, if I
Yeah.
had to give my other thoughts on it, obviously I already said I don't really like the aliens hypothesis, but
Yeah.
I
Me
also just
neither.
think it's like I feel like it's rhetorically bad to use the aliens hypothesis because just from like an intuitive standpoint, I don't think people are gonna want to commit themselves to the existence of aliens. Like I feel like intuitively, the
It's
existence
just
of
an
God
argument,
is
though. It's just an argument, though,
yeah,
dude.
and I know, but intuitively, people are gonna want to reject something like aliens, and they're gonna be more in favor of something like theism. Even if you think
Do, do,
their intuitions are wrong, that's still an intuition that exists for them.
it's isn't it more likely than something else than a deity?
Um, well, I don't see why it would be like a,
But yeah, it is more likely, but by an infinitesimal fraction.
I mean, I just don't see
No,
why
by
it
a
would be.
huge fraction.
I don't see why it would be more likely that aliens did it. I mean, even with a
Because
monkey boy, I think he
aliens are
did.
possible. Aliens are.
Hold on. Let me get my point, because MonkeyBoy said that, if I remember correctly, he said that I don't actually take this position. I just think that the alien hypothesis has equal explanatory power. I don't think he even thinks it's a good explanation.
In my mind, yes, aliens are possible, but then regenerating, reviving tech doesn't seem possible at all. So at
Well,
the
they have
end
a
we have
teleporter. They have a teleporter, and you can just peel off a copy. You can peel off a copy and then re-upload it. Right? That's all you have to do.
yeah,
I don't.
it's
Just more
still
assumptions.
almost as magical as reviving.
I feel like
Yeah.
at that point you might as well like posit a miracle. I feel like it's as miraculous as reviving.
Interesting.
Or
You're finding interesting
almost
that.
as miraculous. It doesn't invoke the magic, but regenerating, reviving
So
technology, it's what, like half an inch away from a miracle.
so a physical entity is less plausible than a magical entity.
No, that's
Well, I
not what
don't.
I said.
Yeah, I
That's
don't.
literally what they're proposing.
Well, I
A
don't. I think that's a
magical
straw man
entity.
of our view, though, because we're not saying
No,
it's a
you
magical
literally
entity.
just said it was magic. You literally just said that.
I said it was more. I said it's equally magical in the sense that you're using the term magic to apply to our view, but I'm saying that it's inconsistent to apply magic to our view, but not your view. I don't think it's actually magic.
No,
You think it's physical?
It's proposed as technology, but it's like it's so close to magic that they're almost touching. Like, okay, regeneration, reviving technology is
No,
science fiction.
no. Let's get this straight. So it's when I said that you can have aliens that have what we call teleporter technology, right?
Science fiction.
Use right, but is that within the realm of what's physically possible?
Why?
Teleporters?
Wait. Why a teleporter? I mean,
Yeah, I
we
don't.
need
Because I would
we need
just,
reviving regeneration. We don't need
yeah.
teleportation.
You scan the person, you store the copy, and then when they die, you simply beam it back in.
No. Where?
That,
What? Hold on.
that's
You need a-
that's resurrection.
No, that's not resurrection, because
Sure it
you
is.
need to scan the person, make the copy, make the clone, grow the clone, implant memory. Like
No,
you
no.
have a.
No, I
I'm
don't.
sorry.
It's just
And
like Star Trek. It's you get the cloud, the shiny little sparkly cloud. That's all the atoms coming together in their atom for atom identical, right?
So wait, so they get rolled back?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, you need to scan them at a convenient save point. So now this has just Apollos. Fuck.
It's just like
Holy
it's
shit.
just like
Listen, I'm going to give
Sorry,
you
it's
a
just
link
like
for a
copy paste.
stealth. I'm going to give you a link for a stealth keyboard from Razer. Dude, that is just wild. You sound like a machine gun when you type.
It's just like
Oh, okay.
it's just like copy. It's just like copy paste in a computer. When you hit copy, it stores a duplicate of the file, right? And then it destroys the original and rewrites the information at another location.
Okay.
But
so
we're just going to do it where we're just going to do it in this case. We're just going to rewrite it in the same location.
All right. So we have scanning.
Yes.
Atomic copying.
Yes.
Teleportation and destruction of the original. Those are 4 miracles, or 4 science fiction concepts.
We
one
can teleport.
God revived it.
We can teleport atoms now, dude. We can teleport atoms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
it's not magic. So it's not magic.
Wait,
then.
so
No,
how
it's
would
not
this
magic. It's
teleportation?
science fiction, but it's almost indistinguishable from what they say.
Wait, I have
And
a
you know
question.
that to me, that this is just a nonsense argument.
No, it's
How
not.
exactly does
It
the
is.
teleportation
It
work here? Like, I'm very curious. How does
It's
the teleportation work?
quantum teleportation. You can teleport.
Pretty sure that's random though. Like I'm pretty sure that happens randomly. If I'm
You
not
can
mistaken.
teleport an atom from one location to another.
I mean, I'm not that expert on like quantum mechanics, but if I remember correctly, um, that happens randomly. If it happens at all, it's gonna happen.
No, it
Not
doesn't happen randomly. It's something that they've actually done.
Wait, but
They do this in
entanglement.
laboratories. It's not
Entanglement.
entanglement. It's not entanglement.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Can you tone it down? Like we're chatting. Why don't know why you're so aggressive? And I understand that it's a shitty situation in the US
Because
right now, but it's
the
not my
argument,
fault.
the argument seems to me from both Max and the other people here, seems to be that miracles that violate natural laws are more likely than what I'm talking about, which operates within natural laws.
No, you're not listening to me. That's what's happening here. I laid it out. I'm going to do it again. Right now, to me, they claim a miracle of God. Fine. With all that entails, reviving regeneration. And then we have this other thing that requires aliens, sufficiently advanced technology for interstellar travel, and we start adding up a bunch of science fiction concepts that we end up with something that is just a smidge more. That's why I told you a smidge is infinitesimally more likely.
No,
than
it's
what they
light.
propose.
They're light years apart because aliens are physically possible in this universe, right?
Yeah,
it's possible.
Interstellar travel,
right? All of that's physically possible. Requires no miracles, right?
I know. But
quantum teleportation is not a miracle. Quantum teleportation is not a miracle. Not a miracle.
But it can teleport a human, so it's still science fiction. And even if I grant you that, you still have to get me a machine that either revives or regenerates or like literally makes a clone carbon copy of a human. That is still science fiction, Brenda.
It's within the laws of this universe versus something that is not.
No, it's not. You can't, like a duplication machine. It's science fiction.
We do it now. Quantum teleportation is a thing that is done.
But it doesn't create a clone. You need a clone because you have a corpse there, and you need it to be alive again.
And you think that this is, and you think that all of this, and you think all of this is less probable than abracadabra.
No, because you're again. Second time I said this, not listening. It's infinitesimally more likely, but it's still science fiction, so it gets me nowhere.
I'm saying that the gap between something that is physically possible, that violates no laws, is light years more probable than something that cannot happen.
Well, that assumes that.
Wait. Quantum teleportation is a process to transfer a particle's quantum state, like a qubit. So the speed, it's the attribute. It's not the particle itself. So it's not teleportation.
Yeah, but it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah, a particle is a particle. If it has the same properties at a different place, it's still that particle.
Right? Yeah, it requires entanglement.
Yeah, so
it's not a clone. So
when you move a clone. When you delete a file and move a file, have you moved a file? No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You took the properties of the file and you duplicated them. You didn't move the file. You destroyed the file.
Yeah, the analogy fails with the fact that
that's all particles are is properties. It's just the sum of their properties. That's all they are. And if you duplicate the properties somewhere else, you've moved the particle. Just like you've moved a file.
No, but you start with two. This is...
You duplicate the properties of the file, you destroy it. It's gone. It's physically gone. And then you recreate its properties somewhere else.
I mean, I'm curious how this pans out.
No, this is oh my! I honestly can't figure out how you're defending this. Ugh, it's wild. It's
I,
science fiction, Brenda. You're appealing to like science fiction. The
Max,
No,
only
I'm
thing you have
not.
is quantum teleportation. How can you make? How can you use this when we like to create another human that is equal to the one you have? That part requires
I don't think
way.
we can do it. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't think we can do it. We're just hypothesizing that some sufficiently advanced technological society could.
I don't think that is possible.
I mean,
But
Max, if you
for
want
the
to get a,
sake
hold
of the argument, we're granting that it does happen, though, right?
No, I don't grant them stuff. I
It,
won't grant MonkeyBoy stuff.
Max, if you want to like, I don't know, go to something else because I feel like this is kind of going
that's
Yeah,
fine.
into
Yeah,
the.
it seems like then we can't even admit that aliens. Then you're just denying the thesis of the argument, which is that
no,
Jesus did resurrect from the dead.
again, I did say that aliens are possible. It's the whole thing that comes afterwards that I have a problem with, and I don't know how more clear I can make it.
But the thesis was that Jesus was resurrected from the dead.
Well, that's something they conceded, but they didn't have to.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have to
NetTube
do that though.
user says, like I mentioned, China did achieve quantum teleportation, but it was the state of the particle, not the particles themselves. It's not atoms, not particles, but photons. Yeah, I don't think that would escalate to actually making another human of a stored copy. Like, I mean, you can get out
Okay.
of some of these problems, but by science fictioning the hell out of this argument. But at one point, you have magic, and then you have a millimeter away science fiction. That is
Well,
just
then you're just denying that you're just denying the thesis. The thesis of the argument was, I thought it was conceding that even given resurrection is the atheists were taking the side that doesn't demonstrate Christianity is true, right?
yeah, it was, but that's what particularly MonkeyBoy was doing, and that's what I'm critiquing. That I don't think that is a good. Oh my Apollo! I swear to God, I think that like there's the typical nightly gunfire in my neighborhood. Holy cow! I'm sorry. Loud
Yeah, tell
noises
me about it.
trigger
I
the
got
fuck out
gunfire
of me.
here tonight too.
Loud noises trigger the hell out of me. No problem. I'm sorry. I'm
Hey,
sorry. I
fine.
apologize if I yell. It's just that it's wild.
Well, I can
Yeah,
drop
no
that.
worries. I just realized that I had the wrong mic on.
We can move to other different topics like
I mean,
like
well, I kind of have two topics that if we want to move on, I'll let
Yeah,
Apollo
sure.
decide.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I have one issue that I had with Pallmann's view, and two, I have an issue with one of Danny's argument. Apollos, which one do you want me to do? I can kind of just bring up whichever.
Yeah, you can just do either.
Uh, I guess I'll bring up an issue with Pallmann's view. By the way, is Pallmann joining us like later for the debate review, Apollos, that we're doing like Saturday or something?
I can check.
Because it'd be interesting to get his thoughts on my issues with his arguments.
Oh,
'Cause-
external. If you want to give me your the link to your channel on the private chat, I'll paste it for the peeps.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, let me get it. Real quick though, I'll just say I actually don't agree with Pallmann on his philosophy of mind because I'm not a Cartesian dualist. I would consider
I
myself
don't know
more.
what that means. What is Cartesian in the sense of the
So
mind?
for Descartes and for like Pallmann, right? He's gonna think that the person isn't material, but rather the person is immaterial and just is like this disembodied center of consciousness. And the way that it's extended in space is just it's somehow linked to or like connected to this body, but the body isn't like really part of the person. I guess you could say like it's kind of a view of the soul where there's an immaterial soul and the person just is the soul. So I wouldn't agree with that.
Like a hermit crab changing with The hermit
You-
crab is not. It's not part of the animal. It's not its shell. On the contrary, my tortoise is the shell. Right? That kind of a thing. I'm sorry. I'm simple in this,
Okay.
and I find all of
I don't know.
this
I feel like
extremely boring.
if you wanted a analogy for it, you might just have to ask him. To be honest, I don't really get the view. I wouldn't agree with that, but I feel like if the debate went there, it would have been interesting. Because honestly, if I had to be completely honest, if I had to debate Pallmann on whether Cartesian demon is true or not, or on whether Cartesian dualism is true, I'd probably lose to him. So I also don't think I'm not sure if Danny or like MonkeyBoy would be able to beat his arguments for it. Um, that's one critique I had. Another thing I could point out is that I don't really like the way that he cashed out like the incarnation, where he said there was one mind, or one mind in Christ, and that there's three minds in the Trinity. I don't think anyone who's Orthodox is going to hold to that. They're going to be dogmatically opposed to that, you could say. So
How
Uh,
many how many parts do we have?
for Pallmann or for me?
Humans.
No, but like under whose
For
paradigm?
you. Do we
Well,
have we have a brain, right?
Well, yeah, I'm a holomorphic dualist, so I would just say humans are composed of both form and matter. So that would be at least two things. Whereas I guess for Pallmann, it would just be one.
No, do we have a mind?
Yeah.
Do we have a soul?
Yeah.
Do we have a spirit?
Sure. I
So
mean,
that's four.
no, because I think the mind is the soul in this context. Same thing with the spirit.
and the spirit.
Yeah, I wouldn't really see a reason to distinguish between them.
So
So
what?
then why did you answer the way you did? Why did you say yes when it was no?
Because the spirit, I didn't deny that the spirit exists. I just said the spirit in this
My
context
fucking
is going to
God.
be identified to the soul. It's like
So how
if
many parts do we have? We have a brain and a mind
well, I told
and
you
a
there's at
soul.
least two because you have matter and form. This is just the basic holomorphic account.
What's form? Form
And
isn't a thing. What is the substance of form?
I don't think form. What do you mean? What is what? I'm very confused. Do
This,
you know what I mean
yeah,
when I say by form? Because I'm talking about in the Aristotelian sense.
yeah, I know that the form, the marble is the substance.
Yeah,
The
when it
form
comes to
is the statue, right?
yeah, sure.
That's
When
not
it
a
comes to
thing.
humans, the form is going to be the
Yeah,
soul.
that's not a thing. That's not a thing.
I mean, it depends on how you what. I'm very confused here because
It's not.
if
But the
you're
form of the marble takes in the statue, that's not a thing.
even if I granted that for like those specific objects in this context, the form is just going to be the mind. I don't really see what that has to do here, like with this.
It's an analogy, right?
Yeah, sure. You
The
could say
marble, the
you can tell
marble is
those.
the
You can say those things are
substance.
analogous. Yeah, they're
The marble
analogous,
is the
but
substance.
well,
It's the
no, the
material
substance. Yeah, the substance
cause.
is
It's
the
the material cause, and the formal cause. It is the form, the statue, right? The actual geometry of the statue, right? That's the formal cause. The material cause is the marble.
okay. I don't see what this has to do with what I said about the mind, though. Because let's
Yeah,
just say
but
I
I
grant.
don't see how that relates to brains versus minds.
Well, here I'm saying the mind composes the person in a similar way to how form and matter would
What does that
compose
mean?
objects.
Composes. It creates the person.
No, there's a part whole relationship.
No, what does composes mean?
I just told you if you're saying X composes Y, there's going to be a part whole relationship between X and Y.
So is the mind the part or the whole?
Well, I told you the mind is a part of the person.
Jesus
Now,
Christ.
when it comes to talking about the mind, I know this comes up, and it did come up when I debated Mr. Biscuit, that he says that after you die, your consciousness goes back to God. And I know he's a little bit of a heretic. It's okay, because he thinks that everything is manifestations of God's consciousness. Now, what that makes me think of is how could you even know? Because if I drive a spike into my brain, my conscious experience is over. And even if my consciousness does something after, no one can know, right? So I feel that those claims are a little bit unwarranted.
What is consciousness made out of?
That's.
What the
I don't
brain
think
does.
anyone. Yeah.
What?
I don't think
To
really.
me, it's what the brain does.
Yeah, that means it doesn't have an ontology, right?
Well, I mean, why?
I don't see how that
Why?
follows.
Right?
Why?
That's
Why
like saying,
wouldn't?
right, that like if I have an engine running in a car, the engine running doesn't have an ontology.
Why not? I mean,
It's
the
just
running
it's
is an
just
action that the engine is doing, so I don't see why it doesn't have an ontology.
actions don't have an ontology.
What's gonna be the reason for saying that?
What would it be made of? What is the engine running made out of?
But doesn't that assume it has to be composed of physical parts? Like, even if I just say
No,
it's not made out of anything physical, how does that negate the view that it has
Well,
ontology?
the engine running has the prerequisite of the engine being put together
so
and functional and with fuel, right?
so if the engine is running and I turn it off,
Yes.
where did the engine running go?
It ceased to exist because the action
It's
isn't occurring.
yeah, it's not
So
happening anymore. But it doesn't. The potential to run again is there.
it,
All right,
it
I'm gonna
doesn't
head
have,
out, guys.
All right.
But
it's
yeah, it
just
was nice seeing you,
gibberish. It's just
Max.
Oh, by the
gibberish.
way, I know you wanted to get my channel. I posted it in the chat.
I did. I posted it
Oh,
for the
okay.
people. I'll share it again if you want
Oh,
to
oh no,
check
I
him
just didn't see
out.
it because I'm not looking at the YouTube video right now.
No
Right.
problem.
So car engine
All
is to
right, I'm gonna
car
head out. See you
engine.
guys.
Take
Yeah.
care.
Car engine is to car engine running as brain is to mind,
Yeah.
right? Consciousness, right?
For his
Yeah.
view, yeah.
So
In my
when I
view, yeah.
turn off the car engine running ceases to exist, but it doesn't have an ontology. So no,
I wouldn't say ceases to exist. I would just say the action stops. The action of
yeah,
running, but the engine is
right,
still there. The potential
right.
to run is still there. Take it, for example, a human takes a sleeping pill. Your conscious, there's details on it. It's not perfectly analogous because depends on how you view
Right.
those things.
So
But your conscious experience stops. You wake up. You're conscious again. I mean,
right.
right?
So consciousness is really just an illusion then.
Why? No. Why
Well,
an illusion?
because there's no ontology there. There's nothing there. It's just the operation of the engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that generates, in the
Because
case of the human mind, your consciousness also is tied to your sensory
so
perception, your feelings, your
right.
bodily functions, etc.,
It's a
etc.
really complicated car engine. But when I turn off the car engine, the laws of conservation have been preserved.
The what?
Right? The laws of conservation
Conservation of
have
what?
motion and other things. Conservation of energy, conservation, all those conservation laws have been conserved. When I turn the engine off, because nothing has deleted itself from the universe, right?
Yeah.
Same is true for the brain. When the brain stops running, consciousness simply ceases it ceases to function. No conservation laws have been violated. There's just nothing there because there was never anything there to begin with. It's an illusion.
I wouldn't say an illusion because it is pretty real to
No,
to the
the
one
illusion
experience.
is that the illusion is that there's a thing called car engine running. There is no such thing as car engine running. There is no such thing as brain working.
Right, but there would also also we think of like human rights. Human rights don't really exist. We say that they do exist, right? So
Well, there's
we
arguments for them to
give
exist
them
independent of our
ontological
opinions.
value.
Ian has an argument for those, but I'm not sure about it. But car engine running doesn't exist. It's an illusion. It's simply the operation of the car engine running.
Yeah,
But we
that's
give
a
it a
thing.
name, then that's what we do with the brain. The brain, when it's running, we call that consciousness, just like car engine running. But when the brain turns off, there's no violation of any universal conservation laws, because nothing has disappeared, because there was never anything there to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah, consciousness is an illusion. There's no such thing. It's the name that we give to a process, and we attribute reality to it, but it's not real. It's an illusion.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? So all of this talk about souls, spirits, and minds is gibberish. It's
That only
people.
follows under his view, though, because his view is going to be like a physicalist view. But if you're just not a physicalist, I don't see how that follows.
Well, it doesn't matter what your view is.
Your
Right?
argument is going to be contingent upon his view of physicalism,
On
though.
whose view?
On
This
Max's,
this
because
is
Max is the one that made the
this
claim
is
that.
my view. I'm relating my view.
Okay, well then, yeah, under your view, it's going to be like that, but you would have to demonstrate why consciousness is just going to be the operations of the brain. Also, your view of
Oh yeah,
ontology
because
of
when we turn it
yes.
off,
Well,
yeah,
you
it's
would also
just
have hold on. You would also have to demonstrate your ontology of operations to be accurate. I'm not really sure what you're getting at when you say operations don't exist. To be honest,
I didn't say operations don't exist.
we said they don't
I
have
said
ontology,
they
right?
right. They don't have an ontology, do they?
If they
Right?
don't exist, then they don't have ontologies. I don't.
If I have an
What's
if I have an electrical motor and it's sitting there running, right, and then I turn it off, has something been removed from the universe?
I think something has stopped occurring. The operation has stopped
No, but
occurring. You can
can
say
you
it
answer the
ceased to exist.
question? Could you answer the question? Has something been deleted from the universe? Have any
Sure,
conservation laws
yeah, sure.
been?
You can say it in a
No,
sense. It has been
no,
deleted.
no, you can't.
Why
No,
not?
no conservation laws have been violated. I have an electric motor running. I turn it off. No conservation laws have been violated, because
Well, that assumes
the
that's a violation.
engine running doesn't have a substance. It has no ontology. It's
Yeah, what do
just
you
the
take to be
operation.
has an ontology? Like, well, what does that mean besides it exists?
It has parts,
Okay, but then I don't
right?
see why. Under that view, something simple wouldn't also have parts. So I don't really like that. That
What?
seems to be a bad definition of has ontology because hypothetically, you could have something which is simple and yet exists. So like for example, David is going to posit that like the mind is simple, or like there's certain physicalists who argue that
I'm
the
just,
mind is simple. So it
yeah,
wouldn't have any parts, and yet though
well,
in those views there would still be ontology.
philosophy of mind is garbage anyway. So what does that mean to be for the mind to be simple?
It means it's not composed of parts.
Yeah, but it doesn't have an ontology. So how can it be? How could that be?
Well, that's already begging the question with your view, because your
Right.
view is that it has no ontology, but you
No,
can't just
so
assert that. You would have
can
to
you
demonstrate.
demonstrate the parts then? Can you demonstrate them?
I didn't say it has parts. You're the one that said it has to have parts.
Oh,
Like
so
you're asserting your view
it's
of
just as
ontology.
simple. How can something that is simple have multiple properties?
Because properties don't indicate partful relations. Not in all contexts, at least. I mean, that would just depend on your view of like how properties work. Like, are you an Aristotelian with them, where you think they compose the things that they that are instantiating them? I guess because if you are, then
Instantiating, right? So an electron has a property
uh-huh.
called charge.
Okay. So how does that imply composition on its own, though?
Yeah,
Because-
it's just a property that it has, right?
Yeah, but properties on their own don't imply composition. I don't see how
There's no
that
such
follows.
thing as a property on its own. There's no such thing as charge
Are you a
that
nominalist?
exists.
Wait,
There's
are
no
you a
such thing as
nominalist?
charge that exists without an electron, right?
Yeah, but that's not what I said. I'm just saying something
Wait,
having multiple properties on its own doesn't entail composition. I don't see how
yeah.
that follows.
The electron is negatively charged, but you can have a positron that is positively charged.
Well, that would be a different thing. Positrons are not electrons.
Right, but
Right.
we were when you're talking about charge.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we have electrons.
Negative charge and a
Negative charge. Okay.
negative charge, right?
Okay.
No, I've forgotten. And anyway, where else are we going to go with all this? I think, right, that consciousness is. I'm an illusionist. I think that consciousness, the idea that people have that there's a thing, a substance called consciousness that exists and survives our life is an illusion. It's simply the proper functioning of the brain, right? That's all consciousness is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Basil for $5 says, props to Brenda, keep it coming, except for that part about being a holomorphic dualist. That sound right.
That was the other guy,
Thank you
not
so
me.
much, Basil.
Was he what? So wait, was okay? I think he might have been confused with that. I'm low-key
Yeah.
curious.
Holomorphic.
What does holomorphic mean?
So it goes back to like Aristotle and how he conceived of substances, right? So for him, if you're gonna have something, that thing is gonna be composed of matter and forms. Like if you have a rubber ball, right? It's gonna have the form of being like a ball, but then at the same time, it's gonna be composed of this matter, right? And this is gonna be pretty useful for explaining scenarios where, for example, let's say you have a statue, right? And the statue gets melted down. Well, there's one sense in which nothing was destroyed because the matter wasn't destroyed, it's still there. But the reason why the object was destroyed, it's because its form ceased to exist and a new form is now there.
Yeah,
So
but
that would be
nothing
a
was.
simple explanation.
Nothing was. No conservation laws were violated in melting it down, right?
Yeah, but the statue itself is no more.
Yeah, the statue itself is no more. 'Cause
Yeah.
conservation laws have to do with the
Right.
destruction of matter, but
Right.
something changing, like a matter, like melting down, isn't issue
Now-
with.
Right. That's just a
Here's
rearranging.
something-
That's just a rearranging of the parts. That's all it is. The atoms simply flow instead of being in a
Yeah, but the original
in a
object is
form.
gone. Bro. The original
Yeah,
object of the
but-
statue no longer
Well, there's
exists.
never anything there to begin with.
How can you predicate over it if you
It's
thought
just
that's what I don't
the
like.
arrangement. It's just the arrangement of the
Yeah,
atoms.
but the arrangement is a thing to me because it gives
No.
you, and what they could say, and I just thought of this, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, that as long as you remember the statue could also exist.
No, it doesn't.
It exists as a memory.
as like a memory.
That's just
I guess.
equivocating. You're just equivocating. Say external. Do you agree with Aristotle that when things fall down, it's because they desire to be, closer to the earth?
No.
No. So you pick and choose what you want to believe about Aristotle.
About Aristotle or from Aristotle? I don't
From
see-
Aristotle, you pick and choose the things that you want to agree with, and those that you don't.
So how does it follow from me disagreeing with Aristotle that I disagree with him via arbitrarily picking and choosing?
I
What's
think
the,
it's.
inferential
I
for that?
suspect it's because it would be embarrassing, right, to say that when balls fall down, it's because they have a desire to be on the ground where they originated from.
Wait, but
Right.
couldn't you just discard that on the base that it has been proven wrong, and that gets you out of cherry
Yeah,
picking?
that would also
I don't
get
see
us a lot
how-
to. That would
Honestly,
also deal with a lot of the other nonsense that he believes from Aristotle, though, too. We would
also,
just adopt modern physics, right? Because we know, for instance, that the statue is composed of atoms that have bonds between them, and when you melt it, you're simply dissolving the bonds, but the atoms don't disappear,
yeah, but the
right?
original object still disappears. I don't see how this debunks the Aristotelian view
There
of
was no,
forms of matter.
you,
Also, I still don't see how you got that inference from external disagrees with Aristotle on some aspect, therefore external arbitrarily chooses on.
yeah, I think
I'd love to see the
that was that.
substantiation for that.
Well, it's just a guess on my part, right? That you would be embarrassed to adopt Aristotle's full physics, right? In believing that things fall down because they have desires, and that things move because they have a constant force pushing them, right? That's another of his false physics, right? Because it's not true. It's not true that objects need to be constantly motivated to move. They don't, right? Because that Newton took care of that. Objects in motion remain in motion. That's contra Aristotle. That's another aspect of Aristotle that you reject. You reject it because you don't want to be embarrassed
Yeah, that's
by
gonna be just
adopting
your assumption. Like you can't
ridiculous.
justify. Yeah,
Do
you
you
can't
do you
justify that
agree?
assumption about me. No, no,
Do you
you're
think
claiming
no?
that it's because. Hold
It's
on,
a
hold on, hold on,
guess.
hold on, hold
I
on.
told you
I'll
it's
give
a
you a chance to
guess.
respond. I'll give you the chance to respond. But if you're just making unjustified guesses against me, then basically you're just conceding that you wouldn't have justification for your claim that I'm doing this out of embarrassment or because I'm picking and choosing. Like you would just be conceding that
No,
you have no evidence for your claim.
what principle led you to reject Aristotle's notions that conflict with physics as we understand it today?
Well, the fact that they conflict with physics would be a good enough justification.
That's
That's
kind
not
of
that's not
that's
embarrassment though. That's just going with the evidence.
so then why do you accept the parts that are just not needed? We don't need his four
Well, actually, I
causes,
gave you the
right?
reason
We
why.
just we just
Well,
need
hold on,
we
hold on,
just
hold
need
on.
an efficient cause. That's all we need is an efficient cause.
I gave you the reason why. I think that theories about forms help make sense of the world with the
But
example of the statue that gets melted down. Because in
yeah,
that
but
instance, hold on. In some sense, something is being destroyed. The statue is not there
it's
anymore,
not.
right?
It's
In some
not.
sense, there is. Yes, in some sense, there is.
There's nothing that was nothing. There's no laws that were violated. No
Okay,
conservation
you're assuming
laws.
that something
There's,
being destroyed results in a violation of the conservation
nothing
of
was
matter, but at that point, you're
destroyed.
hold on, you're equivocating on destruction there because I'm not saying the
What was
matter was destroyed. I'm
what
saying
was
the object that
destroyed?
the matter the object that is composed by the matter, not the
No, it
matter itself.
wasn't. Every single atom is still there.
Yeah,
We just
but
added
because
heat.
it doesn't have the
We
same
added
form, the object
heat.
doesn't exist.
We added heat and it melted. But every single atom is still there. They're just arranged. We just rearranged
Yeah,
the atoms, right?
okay, the atoms existing aren't a sufficient condition for the object itself existing. So the atoms can still be there, and it's still perfectly fine for me to say that the object ceases to exist.
No, because there's nothing was lost. What was lost?
In terms of matter,
Yeah.
but I don't see how that entails your position.
Well, the arrangement isn't a thing. It's not a substance.
Okay, first of all, I think that you need to explain what exactly you mean by substance here. I can fully agree that it's not a substance, it's just a form. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I don't think only substances are the things that exist. Things like propositions wouldn't be substances and so forth.
Propositions are substances?
I said propositions aren't substances, yet they exist.
Oh, okay. Right. So propositions aren't substances.
No, do you think they
Right.
are?
Propositions don't exist.
That's not what I said.
No, that's what
I
I'm
said,
saying.
okay, so what's going to be the argument for that? Because I would find it highly intuitive that they exist. And I also don't think you
They're
can make sense of
causally
language
effete.
without it.
They have no causal powers.
Okay, and first of all, even if I accepted that, I don't think that entails that they don't exist. Second of all, I think in certain cases you can argue that propositions do cause things.
Really? Can you do
Yeah, so
that?
when people, yeah, hold on. So
Can
when
you
people act in
I have a
virtue of
cup of
the,
coffee here. Can you cite a proposition that will move my cup of coffee?
yeah, that's what? Why would I need to do that to show that propositions have causal powers? What? That is a
Well, that would be
complete, like,
something you could do, right?
no, that does not follow. Whoa, how does that follow? How
You
does
could
that follow?
say abracadabra, right?
No, that does not follow at all. Saying that propositions can cause things in certain instances doesn't mean that you can point out any arbitrary effect and say, okay, well, a
Can
proposition
you
could hypothetically cause it.
show me a proposition? Cite a proposition that has causal powers.
Yeah, sure. So when people act in virtue of certain beliefs in that case is going to be a proposition, which is going to cause them to act. So if I have a belief that, let's say I
That
believe the
doesn't
proposition.
follow. That doesn't
Well, hold on.
follow.
I'm giving you an example. So one of the examples you could give, if I have the belief that it is good to donate to charity, I have a belief in the proposition it is good to donate to charity is true, and then from there that proposition is going to cause me to do it, right?
That doesn't prove. That doesn't show that the proposition caused you to. I have a proposition. I have a proposition. I'm thirsty, and it's going to cause me to get up and get a glass of water. But the proposition didn't cause me to get up and get a
It's
glass
a
of water.
cause. It's a cause.
Prove it.
By like a deductive syllogism, or like just by using an analogy or an example, because I can prove it like via it being intuitive, but I don't see how I would prove it with like a deductive syllogism.
You think intuitions are proof? And what?
In a colloquial sense, they can be, because
Oh
proof in a colloquial
my
sense just
God.
refers to some form of, hold on, it refers to just some form of justification, right? So if intuitions can serve as justification, then I don't see why it would be improper for me to use
So
that.
I think that the reason that I get up and get a glass of water, right, is because certain chemical systems take place in my hypothalamus. Those things cause me to get up and get a glass of water. My belief is just along for the ride.
Yeah, I don't see why it's exclusionary. I don't see why physical processes being a cause means
It's
that they're
as
the only
it's a
cause.
good it's as good an explanation as yours. So you haven't proved your thesis.
Well, I don't see how it's as good as an explanation as mine. I really don't get that.
Because it's more parsimonious. Actually, it's better because it's more parsimonious.
First of all, even if I wanted to say that, right, I would just say that mine has intuitive backing. So that's gonna be fine with me continuing. Okay, maybe it's less
Yeah,
parsimonious, but if
I
it has
don't think
intuitive backing, that's fine.
I don't think intuitions are very truth tracking.
So with your view on epistemology, then, right? If you, let's say you
Uh,
reject intuition, hold on. Let's say if you reject intuitions, how would you get around, let's say, something like a Cartesian demon scenario or like a brain in a vat scenario?
Oh, yeah. I doubt that I'm doubting means I'm thinking, and I am a thinking thing.
But
So
how does
even
that?
as a brain in a vat, I am a thinking thing.
Yes, but even if I grant that you're
There.
thinking, that doesn't therefore prove that the objects is you're experiencing are going to be in some way real, because they could still be just a product of a brain in a vat
Yeah, they
being
could be.
forced to.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so then do
yeah.
you have a defeater to that? Because
To
under
what? To what again?
to external world skepticism, because someone can just posit that, yeah, sure, the mental world exists, but then deny that the physical world exists outside of the mental. So, like, an external
No.
world skeptic might say that the external world that you see is just produced by something completely unrelated to it. Like, let's say a Cartesian demon fools you into thinking that the
Right.
apple you're eating is there, right?
Right.
But if you don't have access to intuitions as justification, then I don't see how you're going to defeat that view.
Didn't Chalmers have an idea on this, that the objects within the simulation that I'm within are, quote unquote, just as real as any other material objects, because they have effects, causes and effects.
Um,
I think Chalmers recently made that argument, but I'm not sure.
but that would still be a form of anti-realism, from what I can tell. I mean, I know his response
I
is going
think
to be that. Well, yeah, because his response is that when we say that these things are real, it doesn't really matter as to whether or not these things actually like exist in the way that I'm using it, right? They could still have causal powers, and thus, from our perspective, they're as real as anything else. But
yeah,
that's
I
still a
think
form of
that
anti-realism. So,
no,
I mean, if
I
you want.
think that objects within a computer simulation are real to the NPCs. And we're hypothesizing that I'm an NPC in a computer simulation, right? Then the car that hits me is just as real as any quote unquote external reality car hitting me. It's going to have the same. It's going to have the same causal effects, right? It's going to crumple. It's going to break my NPC legs. It's going to kill me.
Okay, so
And that's
I mean,
real. That's real because it has causal effects that are independent of my thoughts and beliefs and desires.
so to get this straight, in your view, you don't think that there's like a sufficient defeater for, let's say, a simulation theory, or
Oh,
like a or
Right.
like a
the
bringing of
defeater
that
to
state.
that is that it's unfalsifiable.
I'm not saying you could like falsify it fully, but I mean, I was kind of expecting the
Well,
argument like something else, like something like a
But
McCain
there
well,
is no
it
defeat to hard solipsism.
No,
right.
not
Max
like
is.
a
I'm
not
agreeing
like a
with
full on
Max. I'm
deductive
agreeing
proof.
with Max here. I agree with Max here that, and then the defeater is simply that it's more parsimonious to simply assume that we live in a real world than to add to it a computer simulation.
Let me give you an
Um,
example. Flat earthers tell us all the time that the earth is flat, and sometimes they do go to simulation theory. But
mhm.
even and what we tell them is like, oh, even if we are in a simulation, in the simulation, the earth is simulated as a globe. So there is no
Right.
like what's the value of talking about like solipsism or the demon and whatever when we could never know if even if it is the case
Well,
we could never
I
know.
would I would clarify that when I say defeater, I don't mean like a knockdown deductive proof. I mean it can be probabilistic. Like I can agree that you're never going to get 100% probability that your sense data corresponds to an external world. But under my view, so I would go like with what Michael Humer calls phenomenal conservatism. If it seems to be the case that X is true, then prima facie that's going to be justification for X. So because
Yeah,
I find it because I find it
that works for
intuitive.
the real world. That works for the non-computer simulation world, right?
Yeah,
It
so
seems that the world is not a simulation.
yeah, no, that's my argument against something like external world skepticism. But if you adopt that line of reasoning, which seems to be becoming more and more popular, especially in the debate scene, then at that point you would just be opening me to say that okay, well, since we're going by phenomenal conservatism, it seems that these things such as like propositions exist in some way. So I don't see how the justification is really different there. I mean, maybe you could argue it's not as strong of a justification, but it's still there.
But exist in some way, the way that like numbers and mathematics exist. Is that what you mean?
If you're a realist about abstract objects, then sure.
I might be. I'm not sure about that 100%, but they're causally effete. So I don't see how that doesn't. It's not going to support your view that propositions have causal powers.
I mean, it would still support the view that they exist, though. I mean, because
Yeah.
propositions were just an example of like immaterial objects, if I remember correctly, which is where we started this off with.
I really don't like that word.
Yeah, immaterial
Immaterial.
object sounds like an oxymoron.
Well, it just doesn't say anything. It says what something isn't, not what it is. Right? Right, external?
I think immaterial can be a property a object has, though. I mean, I don't see why
No.
not.
How can not being something be a property?
Because negations are also affirmations because of how double negation works in logic.
But wait, object refers very specifically to something that is material. So
I wouldn't be using that definition though in this case. Because when I say
So
object, I mean how it's used in like, for example, first order logic or second order logic.
so what is immaterial made out of?
I don't think it has to be composed.
What?
I don't think it has to be composed.
I don't understand.
Well, yeah, if you're asking me what is it made out of, that implies that there's some
Yeah.
form of relation, that there's some form of composition. But
Yeah,
I don't
why
think
couldn't there be?
Yeah, I
Why-
don't think. Well, no, I'm saying that I don't think everything that exists is composed.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
think you're your argument would, or well, your question seems to imply that I think this immaterial thing is composed of other things, but I don't think
Right,
everything
because
is
when you
composed.
say immaterial, you're just saying not matter, right? So you're not really saying anything. But
No, I don't think that
this
follows because
is
negations are
it
also affirmations. Because like if you have some proposition P, the negation of that proposition can just be
oh,
represented
okay.
with another one like Q.
What am I referring to when I say not matter?
You're saying this thing doesn't have spatial extension, but saying something doesn't have a property can itself be represented as a predicate.
Yeah, but what is it?
I told you it doesn't have spatial extension.
Huh?
Some things are extended in space, and immaterial things are not extended in space.
But that doesn't tell me what they are.
It
But
does.
how could we if something is not material, that means we cannot see it, we cannot touch it, we cannot do anything with it. So how would we even know it's there?
Well,
You
first of
can't.
all, even if we were to preclude knowledge of immaterial objects, I don't think that proves that immateriality itself is like an impossible predicate for something to satisfy. But second of all, even if we can't act on the object, I don't see why the object can't act on us.
Well,
Oh, wait, there, hold on. Because interactions in this world require material.
I don't think that would be true though. I don't see a reason for saying that.
Can you
Like
give me an example of one interaction in the material world that doesn't require matter?
well, I mean, you kind of just said in the material world, but I don't think everything's restricted to matter.
Right, but for me to accept that, you would have to demonstrate that there is. And how would you even do that if we cannot see it, touch it, smell it, or anything like that?
Well, yeah,
Right?
I kind of just explained it. If it can operate in a way that we can see its effects, then I don't see an issue with that. If you're just asking me, okay,
Right,
well,
but
can
that's
I
what I
see?
asked you. What's the interaction? How can you have something immaterial? I'm going to use a colloquialism, come down to the material world
Mhm.
and interact with the material, because all of the interactions that we have are material and happen in space and time.
Well, firstly, right, I wouldn't necessarily say that I would have to give like an example here because my claim was that immaterial objects are like possible, right? So even if you can say that, okay, well, I don't see an example of immaterial causation, that I don't think that's enough to like rule it out, right?
See, I
Oh,
think
it is to me.
the problem is that what you're talking about is insufficient to actually name what you want to be referring to. For instance, you can't distinguish when you say immaterial. Electric fields are immaterial. Gravity is immaterial.
Okay, well then I'm confused. If you think they're immaterial, then how
Electric
exactly, like, why?
electric fields are immaterial,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but if you think they're immaterial, then it seems that you would agree that it's possible for something to be immaterial, unless you want to say they're not things. But then I think your position would be contradictory because
But
if you're saying they're immaterial, then you're applying a property to them, and if you're applying
what
a property to them, then you're saying they exist.
what I'm saying is that the word immaterial is not sufficient to pick out what you want to talk about. You want to talk about like minds or souls that are, or spirits or
What?
gods or angels or demons that are immaterial, but the word immaterial is insufficient to pick them out and distinguish them from things like gravity and electromagnetic fields.
Well, first of all, I actually forgot how we got here. To be honest, I think
It doesn't
I'm trying
matter.
to I'm trying to
We're just
hold on.
talking
I'm just trying
and
to trace it back because I'm not sure if I was using the immaterial point to just say that that God could exist. I think we were talking about propositions. I said propositions are immaterial, and then we came here. So
I think that people when people talk about the immaterial, what they're talking to is about spooks, is about ghosts,
yeah,
about
and then you said
spirits,
that.
about
All right,
souls, angels, demons, God, the heavens, right?
okay,
That's
but
what they're talking.
here's the thing, though, right?
They're not talking about gravity and electromagnetic fields. But
Yeah,
the
but we're
same
just talking
word,
about the property of being immaterial. So
yeah,
the
but
thing is, right? Hold on. If we're talking
listen,
about the
the
property of
whole of
being
my argument, the whole of what I'm saying here is that the word immaterial is insufficient to distinguish though the spiritual world, which is immaterial, from things like gravity and magnetism. Therefore, you need to actually say what it is that spirits are.
Yeah, but
What
the topic is just
distinguishes
about
what
whether or not.
distinguishes God? What
Okay, okay,
distinguishes
look,
God from an electromagnetic field?
look. I'm trying to explain this, but the original topic was just whether or not immateriality can describe something, not whether or not it's enough to distinguish something from another thing. I'm not
I'm
claiming.
showing you
Well,
that it's
hold
not
on, dude. I'm still
capable. It's
speaking.
not
Relax.
capable. It's not capable
Okay, I
of
understand that it's not
describing.
enough to okay, I understand that it's not enough to make something discernible from other immaterial things. But my point is that immateriality itself isn't some contradictory predicate, which is the
There's,
original
there's,
claim that
there's-
Max did made.
what
Because
is
Max, oh,
immaterial itself? What? That's not a thing. There's
it's
no
a
such thing
predicate.
as
To say
immaterial
something is
itself.
immaterial is to say it has no spatial extension, meaning and it's not composed of matter, right? And
Right.
Max's
So
claim was that
electromagnetic fields are indistinguishable using that word and its definition.
okay, I never
You
that
cannot
was not my
pick out,
claim though.
you can't pick out the difference between a magnetic field and Jesus Christ or God or the
Not with just the
spirits.
term immaterial. Yeah, not
Well,
with just
then
the term
you need
immaterial.
to then describe what
But that
it
was never my
is that they
claim. I never
are.
made a claim about. Okay, I never made a claim about the
No,
discernibility of
this
objects.
was started by like me because I didn't think about, and I did a Google search, and yes, electromagnetic fields and gravity are considered immaterial. I think that creates some problems with the use of the word immaterial in some sense. Now,
Yeah, but because
what
hold on,
I
real
was
quick.
trying to figure out is in what sense you were using the word, like to describe what, and when it comes to like the soul and then we're kind of precluded from investigation into the matter, because we can science gravity, we can science magnetic fields, even though they're not tangible. They are things that exist in reality. It doesn't require any
Yeah,
magic.
but here's the thing, though, right? Um, the argument that was originally brought up, which kind of brought us here, was that you said that me saying immaterial object is going to be a contradiction, right? And then
Yeah, an oxymoron.
yeah, and then from there, I pointed out no, the meaning of immaterial is just going to be that it's not spatially extended. So there's nothing contradictory about that, saying that applies to an object, right? And then Brenda said that okay, well that can't discern. You can't use that to distinguish or disambiguate between two objects that satisfy that property, right? So that means I can't use the term immaterial to distinguish God from creatures. But the
Right.
issue is, hold on, I never claimed that you could just use the term immaterial alone to distinguish God from other
I'm
things,
just
right? So
bringing up that your language is just not sufficient to talk about the things that you want to talk about, which is
okay,
you
well
want
here's
to
the thing.
talk
I never
about
said
things
that you
like
could discern.
souls and angels and God himself,
Yeah,
right?
I never said that the term immaterial is only applied to God and that this is what distinguishes him from everything else, or even that it's only applied to souls and that that's what distinguishes souls from everything else. I just made the claim that immateriality as a property is going to be something that isn't impossible.
I think that the mind is made out of blah blah, right?
Okay, I don't see what
Yeah,
that
it's
has to do with my pet
yes,
though.
the mind is made out of blah blah. Do you agree with me?
No,
Why
I don't see
not?
what that has. I don't see what that has
I
to do
got
with
a
my pet theory.
whole bunch of stuff I can say about blah blah. All kinds of stuff I can say about blah blah. Yeah,
Okay,
right?
so if you're just trying to do like a reductio where you're using like a meaningless term,
Yes.
yeah, I know what you're trying to
Yes.
do. It's just a meaningless term, but I gave a meaning to
Yes.
immaterial. So what's the
No,
meaning
it
to
doesn't
blah
have
blah?
meaning. If it
I
had
just gave you a
meaning,
meaning. It has no spatial extension.
you
Yeah,
could distinguish things with it, but you
that
can't.
doesn't follow. That does not follow at all. Just because something has a meaning doesn't mean that you can use it to distinguish between any two arbitrary objects. Like I can say let's say the color white, right? Or the term white has a meaning. But I can apply white to a paper and to another paper, and the term white itself isn't enough to distinguish between those two papers. In order to distinguish between them, you would need to bring in other facts about those papers. So I don't think a term having meaning entails that it's going to be used to distinguish any arbitrary objects.
So what is God made out of?
I don't think God is composed.
Of what?
I also don't see. I also don't see what that has to do with my point.
Well, what is he then? What is he?
Well, first of all, I don't see what that has to do with the point that I brought up about
I'm
immateriality not
just
being
curious. I
content.
would like somebody sometime to tell me
Yeah, we don't say
what
he's
it is,
composed.
what it
God
is,
isn't
what it
composed.
is, what it is that my soul is going to be when I pass away. What am I going to stand on? What air am I going to breathe? Right? What food am I going to eat? Who am I going to talk to? I'm going to talk to. We use sound waves. We use sound waves when we talk to people in the afterlife.
I don't think qualia needs material objects though. Like qualia on its own itself isn't material. It's perfectly conceivable
Qualia is
to.
just another nonsense phrase. It really is. Qualia is just another bullshit. Um, what's his name? Frank rejected his paper, his what Mary knew paper. He repudiated it.
Okay, I don't see what that has to do with what I was saying. But anyways,
Right?
if
The
you want to
freak
reject,
says,
Qualia is
yeah, I don't.
bullshit. Qualia is bullshit made up by theists who are butthurt
Qualia is something
because the
used by.
material world kicks
Wait.
their
Qualia is
ass. That's
used by.
why.
Bro,
the
qualia is
freak
used by everyone.
says, God is love, spirit, truth, light, etc.
God isn't light. Is God light?
That's
He's
what
not
the
light.
freak says.
Is
Anyways,
he?
qualia. Hold on, real quick to address what you said. I don't think qualia is made up by theists. I don't know where you're getting that from. Literally every philosopher that I would know of that engages in anything to do with mind is going to say that qualia is
Yeah,
at least something.
that's why philosophy of mind is garbage.
So the atheist philosophers who engage in philosophy of mind are they like
That-
brainwashed by theists?
yes, yes,
They
yes,
are.
yes. Because the
Okay.
answer, right? We've got it. You've got it on your computer right now. You can talk to it. You can talk to it. Their minds out there. They're starting to run the world. There's minds out there.
Okay, so can you please explain how exactly all the atheist philosophers that engage in philosophy of mind are actually just brainwashed by theists? I'd really love to see the
Well, not all
definition
of
of
them.
that.
I mean, there's plenty of the ones that I think about. Frankish, for Keith Frankish, for one, who's an illusionist, whom I like quite a lot. You know, consciousness is just an illusion. It's created by the brain,
Well, yeah, but how
right?
does that make philosophy of mind itself, or like the philosophers of mind, brainwashed by
Oh,
theists?
because they're just, they need something to do,
Yeah,
right?
but
They
how does
got
that make
out,
them
they
brainwashed?
got that debt, you know. They
Okay,
need to
how does that make
publish.
them
They need to
brainwashed?
publish. They need to publish. They need to impress the
Dude,
people
this
in the
applies to like
department.
every position in
Yeah,
philosophy of science.
yeah.
So like, yeah,
Philosophy is kind of
yeah,
like
this applies to science
bullshit.
too. That they need a degree and they need to publish and they need things to do. This applies to everyone. I don't see how this proves that they're brainwashed.
It was a casual joke. I
All
think
right.
that what, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Well, I mean, I
Max.
asked you
Go ahead,
directly,
We're,
but
Max.
you,
we're going to start to wrap it up.
all
Now,
right.
external, let me ask you a thing.
Yeah. So
How, you seem to like these philosophical debates. I don't. I hate them. I find all of this extremely boring, and you could philosophize till the end of time. That still, in my head, doesn't give you like any evidence. I generally like to deal with reading this book, right? Now, do you like do you think you could defend the book?
actually, my main studies were always on the textual side of things. The philosophy stuff is only really a side thing for me.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah, so
cool.
I would say that I'm honestly I think I'm way better at the text side of things than I am with the philosophy side of things.
Okay. I have one question. Do you know the story of David and Bathsheba?
Yeah, what about it?
Do you think that is just?
Like what David did was just, or
No, what God did.
sure. I mean, is this gonna be about like the punishment?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of like ways to view it, right? I mean, the one that I would take would just be kind of like a quasi Mysterian position where I would just say that, hey, I mean, since God grants life, right, and God is the sustainer of life, it would kind of be analogous like if I was giving you $20 every day and then I stopped giving you $20 every day for some reason. If because let's say you violated some like code of justice, right?
You
I
mean
think that
like
would be valid.
mean like
Hold on,
Okay.
you
Brennan.
mean like grape?
Hold on. Hold on. Let me do this. Go ahead. Finish up.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that it's unjust because of the position that God is in, right?
So a special pleading fallacy. God,
No,
because
because I
he
don't.
gives that. So should you be able to kill your son?
No, because I don't think you're the sustainer of
So
life for your son. No,
another
you're not the
special pleading
sustainer of life.
fallacy.
Well, hold on. Special pleading is only going to involve if there's no like good enough justification for it. But here, I told you the reason why. It's
Yeah,
that
yeah, and that
God is the
to me that's
sustainer of life.
bullshit. He's not.
Okay, well, if we're talking, well, hold on. At that point, right? If you're not doing an internal critique where you're saying that in my paradigm this is wrong, then I think you're gonna have to substantiate what morality you're using to critique me here. Because when you say that, okay, well,
Oh,
what's
God's
God?
morality.
Huh?
God's own morality.
Okay, so then
I'm
this is an internal critique, right?
yeah.
Okay, so in an internal critique, you're gonna have to grant my paradigm, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then when I say God is,
But given I mean you being the why how is it just because you're the sustainer of life? Hold on, give me 1 second. I need to close the tap.
uh, I'll just answer when you're back.
Sorry, the freaking cat likes to drink directly from the sink in the bathroom.
Well, okay,
Like
real quick to answer.
even if you're the sustainer of life, like how does that give you justification to punish someone else for the crimes of another?
Well, two things I guess I could say, right? First of all, earlier you said that God isn't the sustainer of life, but what I was trying to get at with that is that, like, if you're doing an internal critique, you would have to grant that God is the sustainer of life, right? But let's say you grant that and you just
Do
want to
you
ask,
have a
well,
verse for that?
well, it's gonna be derived from multiple places, or even from reason, right? If you ask me for a verse, honestly, I wouldn't remember off the top of my head. There's places in the Psalms where it says that. I'm pretty sure it would say that as well in, I believe, one of the epistles. Thomas Aquinas has a rational argument, but I mean,
I
as I
don't
said,
care about Thomas Aquinas. I care about the book.
oh, okay, that's fine. But I mean, if we're gonna be taking like for us, right, in our paradigm, I don't know what Christians you would talk to, but we're gonna be taking like reason as a way to arrive to conclusions as well, right? But I don't really have the verse on hand, but let's just like say for the sake of argument that he is the sustainer of life, which you said he was, right, or that you're granting he is. If you're asking me, okay, well, how does that mean that God can therefore take life? Well, if you're asking me a question of how, right, then that can be asking me about like the grounding behind the concept or like the grounding behind the morality. So, like, what causes this to be good? Or you could be asking me, like, how do I know this is good? If you're just asking me, how do I know? Well, I don't really think that is proper when you're doing an internal critique. Because if you're doing an internal critique, then you're already assuming that my paradigm is correct in order to be doing
Yeah,
that
you already
critique.
said that.
Yeah, so I
I
don't think it
still
makes.
need to know
Well, hold on, I'm
how
getting
do
there.
you justify even under God's morality? If I punish someone else
So
for the crimes
hold
of
on.
another, God would punish me because that would be unjust.
Yeah, so if you agree that you're not asking me for my epistemic justification, well, then at that point you would only have to be asking me like, what is the cause or like the mechanism behind this morality? But at that
No, no,
point,
no,
I
no,
don't.
no, no. Don't philosophy mumbo jumbo me.
But
This is
that's
a
what you're
very
asking. I
straightforward
mean, you can
question.
either.
This is a
Yeah,
very
if you ask me
straightforward
how,
question.
hold on, dude, relax.
Stop.
I'm trying to
This is
give like
I am
the
very
point
relaxed. You need to relax now. You're
because I'm
not
trying to
going
give the
to
argument
bamboozle
here.
me. This is a very simple question. How, when God says that your like punishments go to the person that commit the crime, how is it just when the concubines get the punishment and not King David?
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't really think that anyone is like absolutely innocent. Second of all, if you're just asking me a question of how, I mean, that question itself doesn't need to be answered if we're just talking in the first sense that I described.
But
Because
I don't remember saying the word how. I remember asking, is it just?
yeah, you asked, is it just? And then you said, how is it just if like under God's morality? So
Forget the how then. Is it just to punish someone else for the crimes of another one?
well, I told you in this case, I don't think it involves necessarily a punishment where the
Getting
people are
raped
innocent.
is not a punishment?
Well, I said it, I don't think it involves a punishment where
Getting
these
raped
persons
is
are
not a
innocent.
punishment?
Can I see which verse you're referring to here then?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Just bite the bullet and say God can do whatever the hell he wants.
Well, hold on, relax, because
No,
what
but
I'm
it's
trying to
true.
say.
That's what you're going to
Well, no, because he
boil down
interrupted me. What I
to.
was saying. Hold on. He interrupted me to make me say
God
that rape isn't a
made
punishment
you.
because what I
Oh,
was saying.
God made you.
I'm
He
Hold
can
sorry.
do
on,
whatever the fuck he
I-
wants with you.
dude.
I'm
You've
sorry.
been
Here, I have the power
okay.
to interrupt whoever I want, but I am. Hold on, let me pull it up. This is.
Well, no, I
I
was just
need to
saying that
open
you.
my.
Yeah, I was just saying you interrupted me while I was giving my explanation to make it seem like I said something that I didn't. Because what I was saying is that you're assuming that this is punishment of people that are innocent, but under our view, I don't think anyone is innocent.
Well, okay, cope. That is cope. The
Well, if you're
crime,
granting our paradigm, you're gonna have to grant
the
that part.
crime, yeah. But these ladies, you don't have any verse that you can reference to any crimes that they committed, any sins or anything like that. These women were the concubines of King David. So that doesn't get you out of this. That they could have potential. Oh, maybe they lost in. Yeah, it
Well, no, I
doesn't
don't
work.
think. I think just as a general claim, people in general aren't going to be innocent. That's kind of my point. Either way, we can use this as
Right,
like a deduction.
but
Like,
they
okay,
should
hold
be
on,
punished accordingly.
hold on. Okay,
How
first of all,
this gets you into a deeper problem because you would have to first justify that they what sin was so bad that they deserve to be raped, and you can't
okay.
give me the verse of that.
Well,
So I got
can
it
I see
here.
which
Hold
verse
on, I'm
you're
going to
citing
show you.
specifically? Because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was thinking
yeah.
you were talking about the death of people. Honestly, when you brought
No,
that up.
they got fucked by King David's son. In okay, 2 Samuel 11. This is a warning, right? This is a warning. I'm going to give you the full story. This is what the Lord says. Out of your own house, I'm going to bring calamity on you. Before your very eyes, I will take your wives and give them to one who's close to you. He will sleep with your wives in broad daylight. You did it in secret, but I will do this thing in broad daylight before all Israel. A couple of chapters later, in 2 Samuel 16, 21, 22, Ahithophel answered, sleep with your father's concubines, whom he left to take care of the palace. Then all Israel will hear that you have made yourself obnoxious to your father, and the hands of everyone with you will be more resolute. So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof, and he slept with his father's concubine in the sight of all Israel. Lovely story. I love to tell this one to the kids. Would you let me tell? Do you have kids? Would you let me tell the story to your children?
I'm trying to read it real quick because you kind of.
I have it on screen.
Yeah, I'm reading it on my own computer because right now on my screen I can't really see it.
Matt,
Yep. Oh, I have the bros there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
sorry, I needed to cough up a lung. Max has been watching Justin lately, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Wait, question. Well, I'm trying to read this right now. You're referring to what's it called? 2 Samuel 16, specifically verses 15 to 21, 23, right?
21, 22.
21, 22.
That's when it. That's when it happens.
Yeah.
But in 2 Samuel
Would you say
11,
that? Hold
12,
on. Is this where you're getting it that he raped them, or is that
yeah.
derived from somewhere else? Because I'm reading on my screen, it just says sleep with them.
Yes, the problem is that they were David's concubines, and God says, I will give them to you. And then he takes them.
Max, they
So
were
that's
just
rape.
cuddle.
That's
They were
rape.
cuddle buddies. They were just cuddle
Well, no,
buddies. That's
I
all. They
can
were
grant that. Hold on.
spooning.
Okay, you're strawmanning me right now because I never said that he didn't sleep with them. My question is whether or not you can justify that it's a rape specifically.
Oh, it is
'Cause-
100% rape. I don't know how sexually active you are, but if you did this in the real world, you would go to jail.
in the modern context, yeah, where like if you have sex in public or if you like, I'm confused.
No,
What?
if you rape people.
Yeah, okay, well, you're just saying that's rape because I'm trying to
it
look at
is.
this right now. Which verse says that it's rape specifically? Because I'm reading it right now. It just says
God
sleep
says,
with-
God says, I will take them, and that's why I gave you the previous verse, because God says,
Yeah, but
I
taking.
will.
Hold on. You can say that someone is taken in marriage, and that's not violent or coerceful. So my question is, how do you justify that's rape then?
God says, I will take them and give them.
Max,
That
but you
in
can
they
give
could have.
someone in
Max,
marriage
they
as well,
could
and
have.
that-
They could have given their consent.
That in no
hold on,
way,
dude.
that
Okay.
in no way, the fifth time, that in no way indicates consent, voluntary consent. In all of this, no one ever asked the women. And then what they do with them, they lock them up. This wasn't a consensual relationship. This wasn't, he seduced them and took.
But you're not getting that from the text. That's what I'm trying to point out. And every time I try to get there, you kind of just interrupt me. I understand that it's your channel, but like, I mean, if you're trying to have like a conversation, wouldn't it
I
at least
am.
be there? Yeah,
Yes.
but it never says that in the text. I mean, you can say that. Okay,
It
well,
does
it never
say that in the text.
Can you show me where it says it's rape in the text? Because I looked at
will
verse-
take them.
Yeah, how does
and
taking imply
give
rape here?
them-
Because you can. Hold on, that word is used also for things like taking in marriage as well, and that's not coerceful. So how does that entail rape here? Because I'm reading this.
The thing that implies the consent is the word marriage.
Okay, so if I say, hold on, if
Because
I say I
marriage is
took
a
some-
voluntary thing.
If I said I took someone to my bed and slept with them, is that rape?
Yes.
Really? Because I mean, can't that just be like consensual? Like I don't really understand. Like, let's say if I don't know, hook up with someone at like a bar. I'm not saying I would do this, right?
Yeah,
And then
and you
I go
wouldn't be taking them.
I
You
mean, I
would
don't see
say-
why
you
I
would
can't
say,
use
I mean, if
take
you
here.
wanted to be precise with your language, you would say, "Oh, she agreed to go home with me."
Yeah, so you took her home and then you slept with her. So that's gonna be take, right?
No, take means you grabbed her and you took her home.
No, because I just showed you a sentence where it'd be acceptable to use take. I mean, if you hook up with someone at a bar and it's consensual, you can say, "Oh, I took this girl home." Is that going to be rape? No. I mean, I don't really see how that's going to follow here.
Right, dude. But I am perfectly justified because all the story, because God says what he will do. Then this thing happens. And then what they do after with the women imply, like it shows you directly that they weren't willing participants in any of this.
I don't see how that follows. Like you're focusing on the word take, but
Yeah.
the word take.
And I
itself
mean,
doesn't apply.
all you can do is just say, it wasn't rape. But you
Yeah,
can't
but you would have to
give
prove
me
that's rape.
you can't give me a single verse that
The burden of proof
that
isn't on me here. It's on you. You're the
indicates-
one making the claim that it's rape. So.
Yeah, and I have fulfilled my burden of proof. This is
No, you haven't,
it's a
because
common
you're saying that take
understanding.
implies. Hold on. You're saying take implies rape. You need to
Yeah,
show me
it
why
does.
take implies rape.
It does.
So okay, well then at that point, if your
Because
semantics would mean that if I said that I
this
took
doesn't
someone home,
come
then that
this
would be
doesn't
rape,
come
which
from
isn't just true.
This doesn't come from like, oh yeah, I seduce her or anything like that. God says, I will take them and I will give them to someone close to you.
Take
in that
doesn't imply rape
sentence,
on its own.
in that sentence, there's no consent implied.
That's your assumption.
The-
You haven't justified that. In that
they
sentence, it just
they
says take.
haven't.
Yeah,
They don't
take
have
doesn't
it.
imply.
They don't have a
Dude,
say
take
in
doesn't
it.
imply. Can you
They
prove that
don't
from the
have a
text?
say in
You're
it.
reading that into the
This
text.
is
You need to
God.
demonstrate
This
that.
is God
Dude, you need to
doing
demonstrate that.
it
You're just
for
asserting that take implies rape, but you need to actually demonstrate that from the text.
God takes them. I love
Yeah,
it when
okay, you're
Christians
saying
crash
take.
out like this. He's justifying rape, just so everyone knows.
That's
God
not true.
takes
I'm not
them
granting that it's
and
rape. Hold on,
gives
I'm not. Hold on, dude.
them.
Now you're just lying about me straight up. I never said that it's okay that they were raped. I'm saying they weren't raped at all.
They were raped. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, even if I'm wrong, that doesn't mean I'm justifying rape because I'm not saying it's rape. It would be justifying rape if I said it was and then I said it was okay. But that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm saying it's
So
not
do
rape.
you condemn this?
Do I condemn their acts?
No. Do you condemn them getting raped?
I told you I don't think they were raped. So that's a weird question to ask
All
me
right.
when I don't think they got raped.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you feel that gets you out of the trouble, then that's fine.
I mean, you can say that, but that's not an argument as to why he's saying
Oh,
take
it is
means rape.
definitely an argument.
It's not, dude.
This
It's
is
not rape.
clear cut. I don't know how
Yeah, you
experienced
need
you
to
are with
justify
sex,
why
but
taking.
this
Hold
is
on,
rape.
dude.
Like
You need to justify
nailed.
why it's saying take means it's rape. I gave you plenty of examples where take doesn't imply rape. Like for example, I
Yeah.
took
But
her home.
that you all you're doing is playing silly semantic games.
That's not semantic.
The
Okay, first
fact
of all,
that
your
the
argument is
fact
based off of semantics. Your argument is based off of semantics. Your argument is based off.
We're going to respect the big box here. Listen. You're talking about a human interaction and you're using deceptive language. You're just playing semantic
That's not
games with
true.
me. You're
Your
playing
argument is
semantic.
semantic.
Stop. You're playing semantic games with me. And it's not analogous because you going to a bar, seducing a woman, and then taking her home, which you're just like literally exploiting the linguistic range of the word to take. Now, if an omnipotent being goes to that nightclub and takes a woman and gives it to you so you can fuck her, that is rape, my good friend.
So are you saying that the word take there does not, or it negates consent? Meaning that if
Yes.
an omni... So what's going to be the justification for that? Because them being omnipotent doesn't mean that they can't ask for consent. That doesn't mean that they are going to negate the consent.
Oh,
Like, for
who's
example,
reading bullshit into the text now?
dude, you're the one who's reading this into the text. First of all, to respond to what you said about semantics, your entire point is semantics because you're arguing about the meaning of the word take. If your argument is based off of the meaning of the word take, then your point is semantic. Second of all, we think, for example, right, and remember, this is an internal critique, so you're going to have to agree with our paradigm. We think that, for example, Jesus took the disciples to places, or Jesus took, let's say, Mary to places, or
Again,
Jesus...
exploiting semantic range. This is a silly
Well,
argument
this
and
is
it won't get you
analogous.
out of the
We think Jesus is
justification.
omnipotent, so
No,
that
it's
doesn't
not.
work.
Jesus
Is
is not
Jesus omnipotent?
omnipotent.
Hold on. In our paradigm, I'm not saying in your paradigm. In our
Jesus is
paradigm,
not omnipotent.
in our paradigm.
Yeah.
Okay, well then you just don't know our paradigm because we do say Jesus is omnipotent.
Well, they do say he humbled himself, so he was not omnipotent.
No, that doesn't preclude him being omnipotent. Because remember, your analogy was that if an omnipotent being takes someone from a bar, then that's going to negate their consent, right?
Yes.
And remember, since this is from our paradigm, you're going to have to use our semantics, right? So if Jesus is omnipotent and we see him taking the disciples places and whatnot, right? Or we just see that language being used in our paradigm, then since Jesus
Love
is
it.
omnipotent in our paradigm,
Love
that
it.
language is going to be acceptable even with consent. So I don't think
Yeah,
your
but
argument works.
again, you're exploiting the semantic range on
How is
the
this an
fact that
exploitation? Whoa, how is it an exploitation if I literally
yeah,
use your analogy of an omnipotent being? I think Jesus is an omnipotent being. He takes the disciples, but the disciples consent. So the analogy is like one to one with what you said.
yeah,
Because your example was,
because in the order of events, consent has to be given first. I don't know what your sexual experience is, but this is a huge red flag, my friend.
okay, first of all, I never said that they didn't consent. So saying this is a red flag makes no sense because it would only make sense if I said that they didn't consent.
Oh, this is a gigantic red flag.
Did I ever say
How
that
does
they
that?
didn't consent?
What are the components of consent?
I would say they would have to agree to it under a right state of mind.
And
If- That's what consent is defined as.
Nope.
Agreeing to. Okay, what is it? What is
consent
consent
has
defined as?
two
Under you.
parts. Consent has two parts. That's why I asked, what are the components of consent? There's
Those
two
would be
parts.
the components: agreeing to it and being in the right state of mind. If you want to
Nope.
argue that being forced to agree to something
No,
counts as that, then
wrong.
like that wouldn't be for count. That wouldn't be agreeing to it. Okay, what is your view of consent then?
Consent has two parts.
What are
Consent
they?
has the acknowledgement and the non-revocation. Let me put you an example. You hook up, you seduce a girl, you take her to your house, you are both drunk. She says yes, you start having sex. You're inside her. She passes out. What do you do?
Yeah, you can't have sex with her then.
Right,
You cannot do that.
because consent has two parts. The acknowledgement, the yes, I want to
Well, no,
kiss
that's
you,
because
I
she
want to
stopped
have
giving
sex.
consent.
Stop. The acknowledgement, or the initial acknowledgement, the acceptance, and the non-revocation. Because if you're having sex with someone and they say they want to stop, what do? You stop.
Yeah, you stop, obviously, because they
So
stopped giving
consent has
consent.
two parts.
That's because they
This
stopped
story
affirming it.
talks
Hold
nothing
on,
about.
dude, relax. First of all,
I
if
am
you just
very
look up the
relaxed.
definition, dude, just look up the definition of consent. I just did it right now. It literally just says to give assent as to the proposal of the another, agree, synonym, assent, right? In the scenario you give, someone consented, then they stopped consenting, right? So my definition was correct. I don't really
Right,
see.
but the non-revocation part of the component
Okay,
is
okay, but do you
something
agree with my
that
definition? Okay, but
most
do you agree my
everyone
definition was correct?
forgets.
Wait, but do you agree my
Almost
definition was
everyone
correct?
forgets, and the non-revocation is super important.
Well, I gave you the definition straight from like a dictionary. It says to give assent as to the proposal of another, agree, synonym, assent. Do you agree that that was basically what my
That
definition
is
was?
one part.
I can send you a
What I
screenshot
am
right now.
telling
Hold
you
on.
is that the consent, the second part, is as important as the first part.
Whoa. So you're
And
just
you
to get this
clearly
straight.
agree with me, because when I told you she passes out, you very correctly said, "Oh no, you have to stop."
That's because revocation is in that context going to refer to them stopping consent, because consent is going to be a continual act. It's not that you consent once and then they have the right to
So
do
two
whatever.
components: the initial acceptance and the non-revocation, or the implicit continual
Yeah,
acceptance
the second
of the
part about the
continuation.
hold on.
Can you point out to any of that here? No.
First of all, it's your burden of proof because you made the argument that it's rape. I'm not the one making
it
the argument
is.
here. Okay,
That's
can
how
you point out where
everyone understands this.
Can you point out where it says there wasn't consent in this passage?
God says, I will take this
Okay,
women
just taking. Hold on. Just
and
taking
give them to someone close to you.
So your
Dude,
argument is that
I have a video publishing tomorrow
okay,
about
that's cool,
two
but
Christians literally crashing out over the same thing. It's funny as hell.
okay, but so your argument, just to get this clear, is that when an omnipotent person says that they're going to take
someone and gives them to someone else,
that's going to imply rape.
There's no consent there. Yeah.
So that's your argument, right?
Yeah. God causes this.
Okay. So you agree that's going to be a universal generalization, right?
What? Why? What do you mean?
You're going to agree that that's a universal generalization, right? Because you're making a claim that if God does X, then Y is true, right? If God grabs, then no consent is involved. That's your argument, right?
If God grabs and takes women to be fucked, that's important, because it's not like, oh yeah, I'll go here and I'll take you to the prairie so we can jump and look at the lilies. No, this is about getting fucked.
So hold on, before you said the reason why it wasn't consensual is because of the words grab and take, right?
And fuck. How can you have rape if these women don't get fucked by Absalom?
Yeah, I understand that, but your argument was that it's not consensual because of the words grab and take being used by omnipotent deity.
Grabbed the women, took them, gave them to Absalom, and they got super fucked. on top of the palace in Israel for everyone to see.
Okay, so your argument is that grab and take is what makes it rape, right?
Grab, take, and fuck.
Okay, those three words, right?
Yes.
Okay, so so for your justification for that, are you gonna say that the two words grab and take are what makes it non-consensual?
Yeah.
Okay,
Grab, take, and
so
fuck. Why don't
no,
you
I'm just saying
try it yourself? I
non-consensual.
mean, if it's not rape, why don't you go grab, take someone, and fuck them, and see what happens?
Okay, look, I'm trying to explain this to you. If you just had the two words grab and take,
And
would that
fuck.
be non-consensual in your view? Just those two words. If it just
And
was
fuck.
okay, but I'm asking you about just
And
those two
fuck.
words.
And fuck.
That's not what I'm asking you about.
And fuck.
Okay, so what's the justification for those three words specifically referring to rape?
Got grab.
No, you're just
One
repeating it.
more
That's a
time.
circular
Here we
argument.
go. The
That's a circular argument.
merry-go-round. Got
That's a
grab the
circular
women.
argument. I'm asking you to
Gave
give the
them
justification. You're making
to
a
get
conditional. You need to
fucked.
justify it. Dude, you're making a conditional. You have to justify it. You said the three words used indicate that rape
God
occurred.
grabbed the
Can I
women,
see the justification for that?
gave them to Absalom for him to fuck them.
Okay, what's the justification for that being rape? I gave you plenty of examples where gave and take do not refer to rape. Can I see the justification
In concept of not fucking.
No, I gave an example of give and take referring to fucking. And
Yeah,
not
but
being
you
consensual.
conveniently omitted that there was a seduction in your example of you hooking up with a girl at the club.
So
you forgot that you had to seduce her, so you didn't take her.
That still counts as taking.
Dude, you know you're converting into a rape apologist like right about now.
No, that's a very slanderous accusation actually, because I never said that rape was okay. Shall find me one place.
Well,
where
you are saying that these women didn't get raped, which is kind of rape apologetics, yes.
How is that rape apologetics to say that someone didn't get raped? I mean, if I say
It's
like you or me,
it's exactly like what?
okay, if I say hold on,
exactly what you're denying what clearly happened here.
you're assuming it clearly happened. Like if I say, okay, this person didn't
Do
get
I
raped.
need to put it again on screen?
Dude, you need to justify the conditional. You're making the conditional that those three words entail that it's about rape. Can you justify that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the conditional is that the three words mean it's rape. So what's the justification for that conditional?
That the women had absolutely no fucking say in any of this?
That's repeating the conditional, basically. You're just repeating that it's rape. I'm asking you for the proof that they did not have consent in this, right? Because you're saying that these three words means it's rape. I'm asking you for the proof that's the case.
Oh.
Dude, you're just repeating the conditional and justifying it with the conditional.
Yeah,
Bringing
you know that like this philosophy mumbo jumbo is not going to save you from this.
Well, clearly
this is the justification.
You haven't provided a good enough argument.
This is the justification, buddy.
You can't provide a good enough argument.
This is the justification, buddy. Go take
you had to
some.
mute me because you couldn't argue against me, and you had to interrupt me too
and give them to.
Yeah, can I have the
take them
justification
and
for that
give
referring
them
to rape?
to
I gave you
Absalom.
examples where give and take don't refer to rape.
Yeah, and the only thing that you can do is like exploit the semantic range of the word, which doesn't get you out of the problem. You're still
That's
doing
not
rape
exploiting the
apologetics
semantic
right
range.
now.
I'm using the word perfectly as it's used elsewhere. Once again, if I say I took a woman home from the bar, that's not going to be rape.
Yeah,
right there.
but you are hiding there. You're being a little bit slimy.
How am I being slimy?
In the fact that in order for you to be able to take a woman home from the bar, that first you have to seduce her.
So you okay? Are you saying that sentence implies seduction happened?
Of course.
Okay, so then
if it doesn't imply seduction happens, then you're a kidnapper.
Okay, yeah, obviously if it doesn't imply seduction,
Obviously.
Sure.
So dude, where the fuck in these verses do you see any input from the women whatsoever? Go.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, in the sentence I gave, you didn't see any direct input from the woman there either, and yet you concluded it wasn't rape. Why?
Yeah,
because
I know how things work, and
I know how things work here. Okay, then
home.
You just refuted yourself. I know how things work
no,
here.
I did that.
The word
okay, that's
when I gave the
I've
analogy,
taken plenty of women home.
Hey, now
whenever
you're
it's not kidnapping, if you don't want to be a kidnapper,
Thank
if
you
you
for
don't
proving
want
my
to be a
point.
kidnapper or
Thank
a
you for proving my
rapist,
point.
if you don't want to be a kidnapper or a rapist, you need to seduce a woman first. Otherwise, your sentence, there's two possibilities. If you say, I took a woman home, either you seduce her and she agreed to go with you, in which case that's all good, or you are literally taking them. What else could it be? How is that analogous? And how do you see any of the inferences of the women being voluntary participants in any of this? Hello? They're there?
Yeah, did you mute me?
No?
Okay, wait, what? How did you hear that then?
I'm
Wait,
hearing you now.
could you not hear me before? Okay.
No.
I don't know. Maybe you muted.
No, there you sounded like you sound like you're lagging.
Okay, fine, whatever. So,
You're
okay, can you hear me
robot.
now?
Yes. Oh, no, you're coming in and out. I'm not doing anything.
Okay. So in the analogy I gave, it says the word take, right? And the word take refers to a consensual act, even though.
No,
Do you
bullshit,
agree?
because it can also be kidnapping.
But I'm saying
You
in
could
that
have
sentence. I'm
kidnapped a
saying in that
person.
sentence. I'm saying in that sentence.
Yeah, because I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that you didn't just kidnap
Okay,
someone of the
but it's
club.
not explicitly stated, right? So,
Yeah,
like,
I know it's not explicitly stated.
okay, so then
but
even
it's
though the
very
passage
clear,
here
it's
doesn't
a true dichotomy. When you take someone, either they go voluntarily or not.
Okay, but if it's not explicitly stated here, then you need to give a justification as to why it needs to be explicitly stated in the passage you're bringing up in order for me to say that it's about rape or that it's not about rape. You're just saying, okay, well, it says take and grab, therefore rape. But then when it comes to
Yeah.
this analogy I'm giving, which people say all the time, you don't want to conclude that take and grab refer to rape, but instead you want to say that, okay, well, maybe it refers to a consensual act. Okay, fine.
You're
But then
literally
hold
proving
on.
my
I will
point
let
right
you
now.
respond. You can, dude. Look,
You're
you can
literally proving my point right now. Okay, so when in the example that you took the lady from the club, you roofied her and you took her home. You kidnapped her.
That's not part of
and
my
then
example.
you
That's
raped
never
her.
stated.
Can
That's
I-
never stated
Oh,
in my example.
but the semantic range of the expression allows for both.
But you
Can
can't
I try
conclude that from my example.
to explain this?
And again, this doesn't is not analogous because you are not an omnipotent being.
Okay, so if an
So
omnipotent,
when
hold on.
God says, I take them and give them, these people have no choice.
So if I show you an example of an omnipotent being taking, then without ever violating consent,
And fucking.
you said that the reason why was because of the word take. Like you're
No,
changing.
I've been telling you for like 5 times already. This is take, give, and fuck.
Okay,
If you're
suppose
telling me,
hold on.
and again, you're going to do the same shit. You're going to say, "Oh,
And-
Jesus took the apostles and but they went
That's not a
voluntarily." Because you're exploiting a semantic range, and you're
How
just
am I
doing
exploiting
rape
Can
a
I try
semantic
to,
range?
again.
Max?
Yeah, can I
Can I
see how
try
I'm exploiting a
to
semantic
explain
range?
it to him?
Yeah, sure. I'll be
Sorry.
right back.
Okay. So here's the thing. So it's not just that the words give and take. It's not
Well, yeah,
just
I
that the
know his
words.
argument is going to be that it's give, take, and that it's by an omnipotent being, and that it's by sex, right?
No, forget what Max was saying. I don't
Okay.
entirely agree with that. So it's not just the words take and give. It's those words in the context that they are being used. The sentence says, "I will take your wives and give them to someone else." That implies that the wives have no agency or no decision in the matter.
What words imply in that text?
The words take and give, but
Okay,
not
thank
just
you.
those words.
And yeah, you said you didn't agree with
Wait.
Max,
It's
and then you
not
just repeated
just
it
the
again.
words. It's not just the words. It's the context in which they're being used and the fact that they're being used together.
Okay, so why? So to clarify, it's take and give, or it's take, give, and have sex.
It's, for me, in my opinion, is take, give, and in the context they're being used, it implies no consent or no say in the matter.
Okay. So for you, it's the context that decides it, right?
It's the three of them: the context and those words.
Okay, so would you agree that his original argument was wrong?
In a way, yes, I don't fully agree with what he was saying.
Because what I was trying to get with Max was that, well, hey, you're saying that take, give, and fuck implies that it's non-consensual, but I can give an example where, for example, I say I find a woman at a bar and I take her home and sleep with her, and that's just going to refer to seduction, right? It seems you agree that
So,
that analogy on its own, right, is valid because I'm taking without it being non-consensual
so
because I'm just taking her home.
here's why the analogy I think doesn't work. So the non-consensual part is because take and give. Fuck is non-consensual fucking, but whatever that. So the analogy doesn't work because yes, you're using the word take, but you're not saying I'm taking X person and then giving it to this other person as if they were property. Yes, you're using the word take, but the context in which you're using it is like sort of a. It's not an euphemism. I forgot
Well, I
what the
think
word
here it
is,
is a
but
euphemism home because if I say I took her to my bed, that seems to be very euphemistic.
well, let's say euphemism, but the thing is, you're not saying I'm taking and then giving. You're not implying that it's like your choice. You're just using a common colloquialism of the word take.
So here's the thing, right? If you're saying the context is gonna be what dictates it here, because in this context I'm using it colloquially, but in that context that indicates that it's not colloquial, right? But I would ask you, what about that context implies that? Because I don't see that in the context. Because, like, for example, right, especially in ancient Near Eastern language, right, where you could have, for example, the father took his daughter and gave her to, I don't know, someone else to marry, right?
Mhm.
Now, on its own, that's going to involve sexual relations in the ancient Near East because of how marriage
So,
worked, right? But that's
so
not
for
going to be
example,
non-consensual.
so that example that you made actually does imply no consent.
Really?
We like in the modernity we sort of keep using it, but it does come from sexism and that the woman had no say in the matter. The father does take his daughter and gives him to her husband or whatever. That does imply not consent. We just kind of
Just on its
kept
own?
using it because of customs.
Well, hold on. Just like on its own, or do you think that's going to be something derived from like context or like implication? Because I don't think on its own that's going to imply rape.
On it, no, not rape. I'm not talking about rape right now. I'm talking
Okay.
about consent. The fact that the words take, there, I will take it's this person and give them to someone else is implying non-consent or non-say in the matter from the person that is being given.
Okay, so is your argument that it's not consensual because of that specific context by implication, or is that just a necessity based off of how the words are used?
Because the matter in which they are being used together, they're implying non-consent from the person being given.
Okay. So I would just ask you, like, if I said, like, if someone said that, why would that imply rape on its own? Like, couldn't that, like, I
No,
don't see why that couldn't be talking about.
give and take don't imply rape on their own.
Well, yeah, even
Give
in
and
that
take,
context.
yeah, give and take imply non-consent, and then if you add like the consent of having sex or fucking, then yeah, it sort of kind of implies rape because in this context of returning to the example of God, it's like saying I will give them to the other guy for him to fuck them, and so that sort of does imply rape because God is like giving the wives to them against their consent for him to use for his needs or
But that
lust
assumes
or
that it's
whatever.
not against, well, that assumes that it's against their consent, though. That's the issue, right?
Yeah, but again,
I
the
don't see why
take
that's the
and give
case.
them in the context how it's being used is saying that there is no consent. It's implying no
But, okay, what
consent.
in the context dictates that?
The manner in which those two words are being used.
Okay, what is the manner in which those two words are being used, and how does that imply rape?
I don't understand
Because
what you mean.
I will
Yeah,
take implies that you grab something without the consent. In this, and then when you say
Well, but
give,
you just said it doesn't imply that on its own, so that can't be what causes it.
yes,
So what does cause it?
on its own, no. On its own,
So
no.
it's something
I
in
will
this
take.
context,
It
right?
can be used. Take can be used as a colloquialism today. Yeah,
Okay.
right. We established that. But when you use I will take and then give, there is no consent implied in any part, neither in the taking or in the giving. And so
Okay, why? Whoa. So why does "I will take" and "I will give" imply no consent?
because you are implying that you're making the decision, not the women.
Well, someone making a decision doesn't mean that the woman also didn't make the decision, because in a consensual case, all parties would have to consent, right? So even if you
They
say "I will take" and "I will give," if both parties give consent, that statement is still valid, thus showing there's no contradiction between "I will take" and "I will give" and both parties consenting.
so they can consent, but it's not implied. It's implied that they didn't.
Where's the implication then? Because you're saying it's implied, and then your original argument was it's "I will take" and "I will give" is the argument, but now you're saying, okay, well, maybe that doesn't entail it, but it implies it. So if it's not those words that imply it, then what is? Because I feel like you're running out of words to use that as like context to say it.
No. Where I always said it's implied. I never said it
Okay.
isn't entailed necessarily. It's just implied that there is no consent in there, because again, you're saying I made the decision, not them. Sure, they could have given
Well,
consent, but why would you
the
frame
whole
it
thing.
like that if they gave consent?
Yeah.
First of all, I think you're importing "and they didn't make the decision," because saying "I made a decision" doesn't mean that they didn't make the decision, right? And remember, because it's your argument, you're gonna have to give a justification as to why it being explicitly not, or it not being explicitly stated, implies that it's not the case, right? Because if you're saying that, okay, well, this statement just says that God made a decision, right? You're saying that,
Mhm.
okay, well, this implies that the woman didn't make a decision. You're gonna need some
Yes.
reason for me to believe that. So why does God making a decision mean that the woman also didn't make a decision?
Uh,
Doesn't say anywhere that on the text.
yeah, the
But it's your
problem
burden of
again.
proof. Once again, I can agree that,
Oh,
like,
we've
okay, the text.
satisfied our burden of proof. You're just coping.
Yeah, that's just first of all, that's just like ad hominem at that point. That's not even an argument. Just saying I'm coping isn't gonna be a proof with what I
No,
said. It is.
lovely. It's not an ad hominem.
It is. Okay, saying I'm coping without giving an argument as to why is not an argument. Like, come on.
Oh, but we're all watching you do rape apologetics, dude.
You're just assuming that I'm apologizing for rape. I've literally
No, you
never
are.
said.
When you're saying that this case is not rape, you're just doing rape apologetics. And what I
Yeah,
don't
that's
understand
slander.
is
That's
why all
slander.
of you fall into this. You started as a nice guy, and now it's a
Dude, I
huge red
only
flag.
started
I would
getting.
tell people to check your hard drive.
Okay, that first of all, that's just slanderous. Second of all, I only
No,
started getting more into that is
sue
slanderous.
me.
That is slanderous. Calling me a rape
Sue
apologist is
me.
actually slanderous. Why would I
Sue
sue
me.
you for this, dude? I'm not gonna
Well, if,
sue.
if, if it's slander, then you have basis to sue, right?
Okay,
Sue
I
me.
don't see a reason to. First of all, I don't even know who you are. Why would I sue someone I don't know, bro?
Then don't accuse me of slander.
Because it is slander. I mean, if you're
It's
saying that
not.
saying I'm a rape apologist implies that I'm okay with rape, dude. You know I'm not okay with rape. Even if look,
Okay, then this was rape.
that does not follow at all. What? Even if you think that I'm wrong, even if you think that I'm wrong, that doesn't mean
Dude,
that I'm
I
a rape
love
apologist,
this.
dude.
I
That does
love
not
this.
follow from what I said.
Oh, it
Me
totally
saying
does.
I'm okay. If I say I'm not okay with rape,
Would you
that
be
doesn't mean
willing to
that.
show this video to your audience?
Sure, you're okay with me re-uploading this debate or this stream?
100%, yeah.
Really?
Please do.
Okay. You're fine with that, just to be clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So real quick, right? Since you want to say that I'm a rape apologist because I don't agree with your interpretation of this verse, when you say I'm a rape apologist, you know that you're like accusing me of being okay with rape, right?
Yes. Which is what
Okay.
you're doing right now.
How am I okay with rape?
Because you're saying God caused rape, and you're like, yeah, but maybe it wasn't rape.
But doesn't that already assume that God caused rape?
Well, I mean, we have, and this is not just us. Look, dude, this exact situation, I have a video ready to publish for tomorrow where this exact same thing happens. And all Christians can do is like, it wasn't rape. Maybe they consented. Maybe it's all the same bullshit.
Dude,
It's like,
okay, but
dude,
that's
this
not
is
an
clearly
argument.
rape.
Dude, okay, here's the thing though. First of all, your friend agreed that your argument was wrong. Second of all, the argument he was making, which I think he's honestly doing a lot better because he's not using your semantics, But the thing is,
it's almost the same thing. It's like you're
no, it's
quibbling
not.
on the
He literally
details,
said, he
and
said
you're
verbatim,
refusing to address like the
he said
core
verbatim that he
issue.
disagrees with your argument. He said he wouldn't frame it that way and that he doesn't agree.
Yeah, and
Second of all,
explain the difference between how he framed it and how I framed it.
yeah. So first of all, with the way you framed it, you were a lot more, I guess you could say, adamant in your conditional, and you just reasserted your conditional repeatedly. Whereas at least he's trying to
What
get into the
conditional? I didn't say any conditional.
yeah, you
I'm
did.
reading the
Yes, you did.
text.
Dude, you said if it says I took, grabbed, and fuck, then it means rape. I asked you for the justification for the conditional, and you just repeated the conditional again. Whereas when I asked him for
what justification more do you need than go grab these women?
your friend was giving that
gave
justification.
them
Your
to
friend was giving the
Absalom, and
justification.
Absalom fucked them in front of all of Israel, and
Your
then they
friend was
got
giving the
locked,
justification.
and
Your
then
friend was
they
giving the
got,
justification, and now you're disagreeing with him.
and then they got locked in a house at the edge of town, and he never went into them again.
Okay,
Because this
your
was
friend
a
was
power.
literally trying
This
to
was
give
a
the
power
justification.
move. This
Your
was a
friend
power
was
move.
trying to give the justification. I don't think it works, but he was saying that in this context, even though take, give, and sex don't necessarily imply rape, he was trying to say that, okay, well, given the way that take and give are used in this context, given the way that words are used together, he's going to say that, okay, well, it's non-consensual. I was pressing him on that, and that's when you return, right? So let's see your name again. I can't really read it. Alejandro, right? So if you want to get back in, if you want to get back into the conditional, right, which is what we were going before our friend returned, you said that the manner in which give and take are being used implies rape, right?
Non-consent.
Okay. Why does the manner in which the words give and take are being used imply non-consent here? Like, what is about it that's special to this context that doesn't apply elsewhere?
Okay. It's not that it doesn't apply elsewhere, because elsewhere it can imply as well non-consent, like the example we gave of the father giving the daughter to the husband.
Well, I don't necessarily think that's like rape on its own. Maybe like if it's an arranged
No, not rape, but
hold on, dude, you won't even let me clarify. I'm saying if it's an arranged marriage where the daughter. Hey, this is why I say you do ad hominems and not arguments, and why you slander, because I'm trying to give an argument here.
Oh my god, get that copium.
Anyways, if it's like an arranged marriage, then yeah, sure, that can be like problematic. But if it's like a consensual marriage, I don't see why using that language on its own is problematic. Like if two persons consent, right, and the father says, okay, because these two persons consented to marriage, I therefore allow or I give my daughter to the son to marry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that usage of the word give and take is valid, right? I mean, if you disagree, do you disagree with that, or?
So again, it's valid in the sense that it doesn't necessarily say that there was non-consent period. It does imply non-consent. It doesn't necessarily necessitate that there wasn't consent, right? The thing that troubles me, at least from this sentence, is why not say something like, I will convince your wives to leave you and have sex with your neighbor or whatever, instead of saying, I will take your wives and give them to someone else.
First of all, I don't necessarily see questions as arguments. So I don't see that as just asking, well, why didn't God do this or why didn't God do that? I mean, that's not really an argument.
Well, yeah, the
I'm
thing is
asking you
that
for the argument, because like it seems you agree with me to the point where like you're willing to say that, hey, give, take, and then some form of sex on its own doesn't imply lack of consent, but it's something in here. And at this point, it seems to be saying that, hey, if there was consent, it would be like implied in the passage directly. But in all the analogies that I've given, it's never explicitly stated, right? It's just said like, oh, I took a woman home from the bar, or the father gave his daughter to be married off to someone, right? In all those passages, sure, if you want to be like honest, if you want to be bad faith, you could interpret those as non-consensual. But there's like pretty fair, like charitable readings of those where it's, let's say, about seduction at a bar or about consensual marriage, right? So I don't see why you can't apply that same principle of charity here.
So we could, but again, it's why do we, if the supposedly is written by an all good, perfect God, why would we have to? Why is there room for confusion instead of being stated clearly?
Well, okay, first of all, let's just say like you reject, I don't know, like inerrancy, right? and you don't think the language of the text is perfect, would you then say your argument doesn't follow? For the record, I do accept inerrancy. I'm just curious. Like, let's just say I granted that inerrancy is false. Would you then say your argument doesn't work?
So I just got one question. Do you
Oh.
think that the Bible is? Sorry, I was
Well,
like the idea,
He does think
like the idea
it's inerrant.
flew off.
I just
Do
said
you
it's
think?
inerrant. I'm just saying for like hypothetical sake. Like, let's say it wasn't inerrant and that I granted that. Would you then say your argument that this is rape doesn't work?
No.
Sorry, I don't quite understand what it means not to be inerrant.
It still works.
Okay, so well, hold on, Alejandro. Does it work for? Does he speak for you here when he says that, or do you have a different?
No, I
position?
speak for
No.
myself.
Okay.
Sorry,
So,
I was just saying that I don't quite understand what it means to be inherent. What you mean by that?
Inerrant. My
Inerrant?
bad. I'm inerrant. Like because your argument here seems to be predicated upon a view of inerrancy, right? So if someone rejects inerrancy, right? I'm not saying I do, right? But let's just say hypothetically someone did. Would you then agree that the argument didn't work?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just not. I don't understand what inerrancy means here.
That the
Like,
Bible has
I'm not
always said.
a native English speaker. I don't hear
Oh,
that
okay.
word very
My
often.
apologies. Because you know how you were saying, like, if this is supposedly written or like inspired by like an all good God.
Yeah.
So inerrancy would refer to that. Like, let's just say for hypothetical sake. Once again, I'm not saying the Bible isn't inerrant. I just want to see where you land on this before I continue. Let's just say
Yes.
let's just say someone would reject inerrancy, right? Would you
Yeah.
then say that that argument doesn't work?
Doesn't change a thing.
It doesn't work in the sense that the original way that could be written, it doesn't leave room for interpreting it in a bad way. Sure, it could be,
Okay.
but just that
I just
sort
wanted to
of
get that
kind of
clear.
would. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I just wanted to get that
It
clear.
could be, but yeah, it's not.
So,
It sort of
so,
kind
so at
of
that
would
point, right?
justify.
You would
Uh-huh.
you agree then that with what we've established so far, you can't really like because from what I can tell, right? You said that oh well, if it was written by an all good God, it wouldn't be up to interpretation, right?
Yeah.
But if you're saying it's up to interpretation, wouldn't that be saying that you can't decide in either way, meaning that the original argument is false?
So it depends if your original argument was that it definitely says
My
it was rape, or if
so
definitely, or
my
it just
original
implies it.
yeah, so my original point was that Max made the point that it's about rape, right? And I
Yeah.
said that
Mhm.
hey, it's not that's not there in the text, right? So you can't use that as an argument because you don't have justification or sufficient justification, I should say, for considering that rape.
The copium.
So in the text itself, maybe not, but given the context, like the times
Okay.
and things like that, sure, I think you could say that. Sure, I don't think it's necessarily
Well, not just necessarily, but
100%.
do you think it's probable that it's about rape?
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
probable.
So at that point, right, I would just ask, like, what makes it so probable in the context?
So both like the time where both the usage of the words, as we already explained, and the time that the text was written,
Okay.
and the rights that women had, basically, which were none,
Okay,
almost
so
none.
to start with like the words, right? But from what I can tell from what you've said previously, you agree that the words themselves don't imply that. And it doesn't seem like you think that it like decides either way, right?
Yeah, the words themselves don't. It's the words plus the context. Yeah,
Like the historical context or just the literary context?
The
both.
literary.
Okay, so with the literary context, what in the literary context makes it about rape?
Again, the fact that the way it's using
Round and round we
give.
go.
Yeah, the way it's using give and take, and then implying, well, that there was fucking, that sort of implies that there was rape.
But
It's
I
not
just don't see how,
necessarily.
dude. I just don't
It's
see
not
how because
again. It's not necessarily that there couldn't have been consent, but it implies it, and it's just weird
but
to me that
how?
it's worded that way instead of worded in a way that does imply consent.
But what? Okay, here's the thing, right? You're just repeating that the context dictates, or I should say, implies that it's about rape, right? But when I'm trying to ask you, what is in the context? Like, what specifically in the context makes it about rape?
Because there you again, I cannot narrow it down to, I think, there was the specific manner in which you desire, but again, the fact that it's using I it's saying I give and I no, I take and I give implies that I is making the decision and not the women.
I don't
Sure,
think that.
there
Okay,
could
okay.
be consent from
Right.
from the women, but it implies that he is making the decision, not the women.
Okay. The thing is, you've already said that before, that it implies that he's making the decision, not the woman. But
Yeah,
how? I don't see how that's the case. Like I gave
because
you an example.
that's just the way we structure things when we talk, right? If I say
No,
I
I
did
don't I
X,
don't concede that. Like I gave you an example where it doesn't even imply it. Like I don't know if like I know you wanted to say originally this was non-consensual but then I don't know, you seem to kind of like change on the position on this because I gave you the art like the example of I gave my daughter to you in marriage, or I took and gave my daughter to you in marriage, right?
yeah.
Um
Yeah,
so
I think I said it does imply non-consent, but it doesn't mean that there wasn't consent necessarily.
I just don't see how that term implies non-consent because like
Oh,
there's
really? Okay, look at the screen right now. So, here we have
All
the
right. Sorry, I have to
interlinear.
go. Thank you, Max, for letting
okay.
me talk to him, and thank you for the nice conversation external.
Oh,
I gotta go.
it feels great the first time that you do this, doesn't it?
All right.
All
See you
right,
guys.
so
Bye.
here we have when tati, and then when we go to this, let's explore some other places where the Bible uses the same word. I will give to you and your descendants. I will give unto thee, and I will give to your descendants, and I will give unto thy seed of the peoples, and will give this. I will
So like
grant.
wait,
All of this is
where does this
like God just doing. Like it. None of this implies any input from anyone else other than
where
God.
are you
Thou
sure?
shalt come,
Because
I
on the
will
way at the
make
top,
enemies
hold
all
on, at
thine
the top
enemies.
is it says I will give, and that it says I will give to your descendants, right?
I will
Did the
give to you and your descendants. Yeah.
okay? Were the descendants forced into getting that, or did they consent?
Yeah. I
They were
mean, they
forced
get,
to,
they get, they give. Yeah, I will give to you and your descendants.
so they don't have a choice in it, meaning that they were coerced into it.
No, not coerced, just forced, because it's the
How were
will
they
of God.
forced?
Do you think that you can just deny something that God gives you?
Um, okay, not in this what?
Do you
I'm so,
think that you, mere human, can deny something that God gives you?
it's not morally permissible, no, but in this context, the Israelites clearly would have been fine with receiving the land. They consented to receiving the land. Likewise, the Abraham and his descendants
Right,
would have been
but
fine with receiving the
lands
land.
cannot consent, can they? So who cares?
But your argument was that this context doesn't imply the consent of either party. The parties in this context are going to be the Israelites, Abraham's descendants, and God, right? So
No.
that
The part
yes, the parties, that is the party. What do you mean
the
no?
like yeah, when I give you land, who the fuck cares? Because the land cannot consent. But it's very
Okay, but the
different for
parties still
me than
consent.
giving you a
The parties
person.
still consent. You agreed that
The
the parties still
land,
consent. So no, your
the
argument
la
was wrong. Your
your
argument that it didn't
oh
involve
my
consent
fucking,
of the
how can
Israelites
you
was
do
false.
this? Like seriously.
Dude, your argument was wrong. What do you want me to tell you?
No, it's not wrong.
Yes, it is.
So when you give land, the land, who the fuck cares? Because the land cannot consent,
That's
right?
irrelevant. You made the claim that the parties did
No,
not consent.
no,
You
because
made that
here
claim.
the land is the woman.
Dude, okay. You made the claim the parties cannot consent in that example. I just
Who
showed you the parties
cares about
consenting.
who's receiving, my guy? It doesn't matter. Here we have God doing the giving, the land, which is the women, and the
That assumes
rest.
the women
Like
are
who?
analogous to the land. But the women here aren't
That
impersonal. The land
so
is
in this
impersonal.
situation, when God grabs something, look, I grab something and I give it to you.
That's
When
only going to imply. Okay, okay,
the
look.
consent that's important is the
The only
consent
reason
of
why,
the
dude,
object that is being grabbed and given, not the one who's receiving. Who receives doesn't matter here. The
okay, first of
consent of the
all,
one that receives is not important here. What matters
that's not what
here.
you claimed. You claimed that neither party consented in the example that you gave of Israel gaining land. I just told you that they consented, and you seem to agree with that. So yes, you conceded.
No, no,
Yes,
no,
you
no, no,
did. There
liar,
is no,
liar,
no, no. Yes,
filthy
you
lie.
did.
Oh my God, you're going to the lake of fire. I smell burning. I smell pants on fire. What matters? It's not the one that receives.
Okay, then
The
you're
one that
changing your
receives, I
claim.
couldn't care less about. God
Then you're changing your
grabs
claim.
either land or the women here, the concubines of David, and gives them. So the consent that really matters is the consent of the object that is transferred, right?
In that context, yeah,
Right?
the
And that
things
what you
transferred
can't
aren't,
change. What are we talking about? We're talking
dude. The
about where
things
the women
transferred.
raped.
Okay, the things transferred in the example of the woman are persons. The things transferred in the example of the land is not persons. So the
Right.
part that you're trying to
Land
draw,
cannot consent, right?
hold on. The
So it's
analogy
not
you're trying to
analogous. So
draw
it's
does not map.
irrelevant to bring it up right now.
So
Correct?
then, no, the analogy that you're bringing up doesn't work because the thing being transferred or the thing being given is personal in one and impersonal in the other. Whereas the two parties that I mentioned, the recipient and the giver, are both personal in both examples. So the analogy can only be given relative to the recipient, not to the thing being transferred. So if the women are the things being slept with by the people, right? Those are going to be personal. Land isn't personal. So obviously land can't consent, but that doesn't mean that the word give itself refers to lack of consent. That's the only reason why it lacks consent in that particular instance has to do with the fact that the land is impersonal, not because of the word give itself.
Are you seriously that dumb that you're talking about consent from the land?
I never said the land consented. I just said the land can't consent because it's impersonal. Did you not hear what I said?
Right. So why are we
Okay,
even talking about the land when who cares?
dude, because I'm saying in this case, the land is impersonal, whereas the women are. So using this as an analogy to describe the woman doesn't make sense.
You latched onto this because you think this gives you a get out of jail free card and you got
No,
hooked
I
over
said,
it.
dude, I
But
said the part that hold on,
I
dude, I said the
scrolled
part that was
past the
analogous
first. I
was the
scrolled
two
past the
parties, the
first verse
recipient and the
like
sender.
10 minutes. I scrolled past the first verse like 10 minutes ago. So who cares? Now we're looking at the same word being used in different contexts, and here it's just God doing something. No consent, no nothing. It's just God does. And now you want to talk about land. I will turn them out and put. It can be take them and put, and it's like this is all the same thing. Dude, how? Wait, what's happening? You're roboting again. Vanessa says, why is everyone rude and ignoring each other? Well, I managed to get this guy to do a little bit of rape apologetics. That's why I'm so adamant. I don't understand why Christians just don't take the L on this. Just say, yeah, no, it's a bad story. It's from a time where, I mean, because if I can do this to you, how much do you want to bet that I can get you to do slavery apologetics or murder apologetics? That one would be more fun. I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's you, maybe it's me, but I don't think I can't hear you right now. You roboted for like a second and then you never came back. Freak, I would like to ask you, would you defend this or would you take the L? Please bear in mind that your wrench is at stake here. Seems like God was intent. No, it was God punished David. God punished David, number one. God punished David twice because God had Bathsheba's husband killed. So when David and Bathsheba had a son, God punished David by killing that son. And what happened after was that it wasn't enough because God is a little bit, the omnibenevolent God didn't think that killing David's son was enough. So
All right,
after
can you hear
that,
me?
yes. So
Alright.
after that, hold on, I'm telling Freak the rest of the story. So
Alright.
after that, he had warned him. So after that, he had the concubines raped, and they went. Then after all of that had happened, Absalom locked them in like a house at the end of the town. So it wasn't that you could make a case that it wasn't rape if you said that then he made them their concubines and they lived happily ever after in the palace and they took care of the palace. But no, because it wasn't an act of Absalom wanting to seduce them or he didn't really like them. He was just making a power move over his father by direct command of God, because he tells you a couple of chapters earlier. That's what he did.
All right. Do you want me to respond or?
Yeah.
Okay. So right before, your argument for this is going to be on the usage of the word give, right? Yes. No. Did you cut out again, or did I cut out again?
I'm sorry. Are we going to round one back again? Are you flirt
Dude,
resetting on me?
because we were just on
What is the
that
shape
before I
of
cut
the
out.
Earth?
What?
What is the shape of the Earth?
A globe? What does that have to do with anything?
No, nothing. Because you flirt reset, so I thought you might be a flat earther. But okay, we're cool.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways,
so-
look, before I cut out,
argument
you were
is-
just on that. Before I cut out, you were just on that. So no, it's not
Yeah.
an issue for me to go back. I mean, if you want to say that the word give doesn't imply it, then fine. Okay, we can go to something else.
No, what I mean is that it's not a contingent of just one word. It's a whole thing. You need to do you know the story? I don't think you know the story.
Yes, I know the story. I literally have been arguing about it for
even look, even if we say, okay, it was not rape. Okay, how is it just that the ones that are getting fucked, whether it is consensually or not, are the women and not David? And why does God dish a quote unquote double punishment?
Well, if you agree that they consented, then what exactly is the argument here then?
No, I don't agree with the consent. I temporarily gave you a tiny little pass from your rape
You
apologetics.
conceded. Okay, first of all, I'm not a rape apologist. That's once
You
again
are.
slander. No, that's slander.
You became
Second,
one. Sorry.
That is slander.
I mean, you should have taken the L and said oh yeah, this
No,
story
that's still slander. Dude,
this
it's
story
still
is
slander.
bullshit. I don't support it. But I still feel the rest of the Bible is still true.
Okay.
I mean that would be the honest answer.
Even if I were to concede,
if you were honest,
that I was
you would
wrong,
say
dude,
yeah,
even
no,
if I
this
were
is
to concede that I was wrong, that still wouldn't entail that I'm okay with it.
How much would you want to bet that I can make you become a murder apologist?
Dude, we're not even.
And that even worse, that I can make you become an infant assassination apologist.
Wait, why are you trying to move topic, bro? I thought you wanted to stay on this topic.
No, I mean, you're just going to flirt reset again, so I'm trying to move the conversation. How much would you like to bet that I can make those things happen right now?
Okay, I would rather stay on this topic.
No, I got out of you what I wanted, which is to do what you did, which is what Christians do, and I don't know why you don't take the L.
No, let's stay on this topic. What the hell? Why would you want to move to a different topic when we're already talking
Why would you want to stay on this? You're looking like absolutely really horrible.
Okay, are you just gonna say that you don't want to argue about this anymore?
No, I mean, if you want, I can go all night.
Really? I mean, do you not have work or something?
You don't care about what I have.
What do you mean, dude?
Let me worry about what I have or don't have.
Okay, despite all the horrible things you said about me, I would still not want you to just argue online all day. Despite all the stuff you said about me, I would not want that.
I'll make my own fucking decision. Thank you. Don't give a fuck what you think, what you want for me. So, I'm making money off of this, right?
I mean, good for you, man. I don't is that meant to hurt me or?
No, I'm telling you that. So it doesn't matter to me as long as this keeps going. The bills keep falling down, so it's all good.
Okay.
And of course, this is going to make a kick-ass video for tomorrow because I already have one published. So I'm going to make a little collection of Christians crashing out over what the Bible says.
Is that going to be like actually taking their statements in context, or is it going to be out of context?
I will just clip from this. I will just post this thing. This
No,
whole
but
thing.
like,
I don't need
the
to
whole
edit
thing?
it or anything. You
No
did all
editing?
the work today, my friend.
Okay, you can say that. If you want me to be completely honest, I feel like you're not really justifying like your position at all. Like, what do
Sure.
you want me to tell
That's
you?
what a rape apologist would say.
Once again, that's slanderous.
Dude, the
I've
problem
never
is
said-
that you think that this I have been running this not that long ago, but many other people run this, and you're exhibiting the same response that everyone else has. The correct answer here would be just to take the L and say like, oh yeah, no, dude, this story just reflects what the Jewish people thought of the time, that basically taking by force your father's concubines was a display of force.
Okay, you can think that, but at the end of the day, it's still slanderous to say I'm a rape apologist.
I don't give a fuck.
That it's slander, or
I don't give a fuck about either way. But I mean, people right there, there's people there. They can make the judgment and post this to your audience and see what they tell you.
okay.
I mean,
You want me to?
I am so inclined to say that you will not dare to post this interaction to your audience.
Okay,
No
so
freaking way.
I mean, we can like end it now. I can post it. I mean, you're fine. Like, since you want to seem to move on to a different topic, if you just want to end it here, just to clarify, you're perfectly
I'm fine
fine.
either way. I would like to probe. You said that the Bible, you hold to the inerrancy of the Bible. Would you like to talk about some contradictions?
I mean, we can talk about that at a later time, but I mean, if you don't want to stick on this topic, then
I mean, what
we
are
will.
you going to say? You're going to keep coping with the same thing, and it's very. The text is very clear. The text is very clear.
Since we're not getting anywhere, and since, in all honesty, I don't think you can justify your position. Are you
Sure.
perfectly fine if we just end it here and I record the full discussion, or post the full discussion? You're not gonna have any issues with it. Nothing right now, right?
No, not at all.
No.
That's going to be
Oh.
amazing.
Okay.
It's going to be amazing.
Thank you for your time, I guess.
Yeah, you started nice, and then you had to fall in the trap.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you're kind of being dishonest with some of it, but hey, man.
I'm dishonest.
Yes, because you're saying things about me which
I
aren't
got
true.
Christian bingo. I'm dishonest for reading the Bible.
No, I'm saying you're dishonest in your claims about me specifically. Like, even if, look, man, even if, let's just say that I was wrong and that I was misinterpreting the verse, me misinterpreting a verse doesn't make me a rape apologist. I just don't see how that follows.
No. You saying it was not rape is what make you a rape apologist. You saying, oh, I don't think you made a convincing case for rape is what makes you a rape apologist.
So anyone that says that, like, that differs with your interpretation is a rape apologist.
On this?
Yes, on this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh.
Pretty much.
I mean, if you want to,
if you want to talk about slavery, I can probably make you, and this is what I told you before. How much would you want to bet that I can make you both a slavery apologist as well as an infant murder apologist?
Okay. I don't know why you're trying to go off topic. If you want to just end it here, okay, fine.
He knows. Dude,
why would I go off topic onto a complete, like, why would I go off topic?
We can move. We can agree to disagree and move on to the next one. But that's what I'm betting you. That I can make you a murder apologist and a slavery apologist.
All right. Do you want to set up like a formal debate or something on this? We can do that if you want to. I mean, I'm fine with that. Do you have like a Discord or something where we can set it up?
Yeah,
I can debate like on the.
Apollos has it if you want to ask him, but it's mxxxd.uy.
All right, so I can speak with him on it, and we can set up something or like a conversation on it.
Sure.
Okay. We can end it there then.
Oh my God.
I guess we all talk to you later on this issue, but see ya.
Sure. All right. Bye. I don't get why they don't take the L on this, dude. It's so easy. Just say like, oh yeah, no, that's messed up. I wouldn't. I wouldn't hold to that. But no, they want to make it out. No, it's not. And you know what? Dude, I had Icy Spin gave me today, and it finished downloading very recently. He gave I had the same discussion with the guy from I'm sorry, what's this Discord server called? What's it? Worldwide Debates, right? And I made Taylor and what's this guy? Lion for Zion, who's a mod. And I got him so mad that he muted me and didn't want me to talk again. And someone was like, dude, he was the only one here talking. He was debating like 2-3 people at the same time. Unmute him. And yeah, then they didn't want to talk about it anymore. But honestly, I don't know why they don't take the L on this. Yeah, sorry. Apparently, it's from my side. But, well, oh boy, that was fun, wasn't it? But they get super triggered. If you call them a rape apologist, but they can't help themselves because the Bible has to be true. That's the stupidest way to go about this. And of course, when it comes to inerrancy, oh my God, he's going to get so thoroughly cooked. Like a rotisserie chicken. All right, people, my friends, tomorrow we have Dan and I are doing I've stolen a lot of things from Justin. I'm trying to come up, like, for example, with the Lake of Fire thing, I'm trying to come up with my version, but it's just so difficult. I'm trying not to steal as much, but I mean, the arguments are just fucking great. Yeah, the baby paste, yeah. No, but I mean, he knew, I think he knew when I told him if he wanted to bet that I could make him a slavery apologist as well as a infant murder apology. Yeah. Poor guys. How does someone? He sounded young, and Apollos is young, and I want to think that Apollos wouldn't do this. I actually sent him a message like, "Hey, I got your friend to do a little bit of rape apology," and then I sent him another message like, "If anyone ever brings this up to you, just take the L. Say this was bad, because otherwise, that's all you have left is doing this, and they don't see it. They don't see how it's rape apology. I mean, this guy didn't even know that consent has two parts. David says, Matt Dillahunt is also really good at explaining these things. Matt, I would really recommend watching Old Matt to everyone. Old Matt I like. New Matt, he's a little bit too cranky to me right now. Because, I mean, I yell and so on, but it's because I'm effusive, but I'm not angry. It's just that I'm loud, like I'm really loud. In general, like in regular life, I'm loud. But yeah. And yeah, Justin, I always try to adapt everything. The thing is that a lot of these things are somewhat new to me, and I haven't had a chance to like run them. And I did purchase the cheat sheet. I purchased the membership to Justin so I could get a cheat sheet, and yeah. it's good. I have so much to read on that. But honestly, I wouldn't be caught. Like, if I were in their position, I think if I were Dr. J or anyone else, or like Isa, I would bring this up to them. And Isa, I'm 100% sure that Isa will tell me like, oh, yeah, no, he wouldn't do these lame deflections. And I'm almost certain that Dr. J would be like, oh, yeah, no, that was bad. Because Dr. J has told me in the past, oh, yeah, God does things that are bad sometimes, right? But how do they think that, quibbling over if it was rape or not gets them out of the crux of the issue, which is someone else getting punished for someone's crime, and a double punishment because God killed the son first. So it makes no freaking sense whatsoever. I will keep an eye out on this guy's channel, and everyone should do the same. I don't think he will post this. I honestly don't know if he will post this. You know what? I'm actually going to subscribe. Oh, he has 372 subs. No wonder. Yeah, that won't. I don't think it. I don't know. I'm torn now because he has very little subs. He doesn't have much to lose, but I don't know. I still think he won't do it. I hope you're sub to my channel. I hope so too. If not, we're going to fix that right now. And if I'm not subscribed, I will thoroughly apologize. Oh my God, I wasn't. Everyone, this is a commandment from the Church of Mate. Subscribe to Doodle Sound Labs, which is David's. He's so great. David's, you are the best. All right. Tomorrow, Dan and I are covering the we're covering something dumb that Witted said about the radio system LoRa. I had heard the explanation before, but I didn't really remember it at the time. And of course, I thought of Dan immediately. So we are going to do a little bit of more serious debunking of that. Here you have David's link. I subscribe both on my Maxed account and on the Yerba Mate Talks account, which are the two I use mostly. And before we go, make sure to social thing is like, share, subscribe, send this to a friend, send this to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your street, and just subscribe to Yerba Mate Talks. And that way we can share the love for the channel. NetTube user says, on a different note, I watched some videos by Iron Horse. This person is irrational, says random and incoherent things. It's strange and just plain crazy. Oh boy. If you haven't, there's a short of me like dunking on Iron Horse. Gold. So gold. All right. We'll catch you tomorrow. Love you all. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great time.